All right, guys, welcome in. It's time for Total Bases. We've made it to the weekend almost, the final show of the week. If you're new to this show, we're here Monday through Friday every day, 9 a.m. Eastern, to talk baseball with you guys for an hour right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. So we kind of started the show backstage, and I kind of was like, oh, maybe we should go live and talk about this instead of just the three of us, without doing it on air. So we're going to start with Braves Mets. Brian Leonard, I just grabbed my tickets for the Syracuse Mets game tomorrow night. I'm going to go see Jonah Tong pitch in what, if the Mets are smart, will be his only appearance in Syracuse, because they're on the road the next 2 weeks. And if this guy is not on that big league roster by September 15th, seeing what they've got with him as someone that could potentially help this year, that's a big problem in my opinion, because the Mets have problems right now. Suddenly, a team that was 20 games over 500 is now battling it out for the final wild card spot. And I'm a big believer that they need to lean into these young starters, or they might not make the playoffs this year. It is a massive series for them in Atlanta starting tonight. How are you seeing this one, Mets Braves?
Yeah, McLean getting his second start with the Mets looked really good in the first one. Unfortunately, I think when a right-hander comes up and has success first time out, especially if he's a touted prospect. I believe he's number 64 coming into the season in Major League Baseball. He was the Mets' number 3 prospect. When they have success right out of the gate, it puts a lot of pressure on him, and it also makes the betting line a little bit valuable here for Atlanta. They got Wentz going, who's a lefty, and we're seeing Wentz right now at about a 110 favorite, total 8.5 to the over. I think McLean's the real deal. The problem is, how do you trust this Mets team? They continue to find ways to lose, and we talked about this. They left the pitcher in too long once again, Manea yesterday, and the coaching staff is doing a terrible job on this team. If you ask me, I just don't think they're doing well. They've got all this big money into this team, a lot of veteran players. They should not be losing the games that they've been losing. The Reds are only, I believe, 1 game behind them now in the last wild card spot, and I'm rooting for Cincinnati. I grew up in Cleveland. The Reds were in the same state, so we'll see how it goes. The Mets are much better than what they've been playing. I'm very disappointed in the way they've been going, but McLean against Wentz here. Wentz is a guy that really has been a reliever for much of his career. Came over, I believe, from Detroit to Atlanta. He's looked pretty good so far in the starting rotation. McLean comes in just the 1 game. He threw 5 1/3, struck out 8, 1.13 whip. His expected ERA was 2.86 in that game. He does throw 6 pitches, which is rare for a young guy like that. And his 4-seamer, which is at 95.5, he only throws 10% of the time. So you got to like that. I think he's the real deal. I think he will perform very well for them. I'm just afraid the expectations are so high after that first game. Joey Wentz, 4.72 ERA, 4.09 expected, 1.38 whip. Great extension, 93rd percentile, but his average exit velocity is only in the 12th percentile, walk rate 14th, hard hit 23rd. He only throws 4 pitches, and the change he only throws 1% of the time. So basically he's a 3-pitch pitcher, with his 4-seamer being the number 1 pitch, throws that 46% of the time. That's always a concern for me, especially when you're going against a veteran team like the Mets. Your total is 8.5 to the over here. Atlanta's usually a pretty good hitting ballpark. Let me take a look at the park factors for today. It's basically playing a true even. It's like minus 1% overall for runs. So I would expect this to be a high-scoring game, even though the Mets bullpen should be great. But we will see. At 8.5 here, I kind of like the over here. The Mets have not been that great of a hitting team off and on. They've done really well. They do bad. They're very consistent. But if I had to play this, I would play the over here. Getting 9 runs would get you that victory.
Yeah, I don't have a big read on McLean. Isn't it interesting, though? Remember way back before the All-Star break when I went on a rant about how the Brewers season is over? That in that series, the Mets beat them And since that series, the Mets have gone plummeted downhill. I said right during my rant that they're a World Series contending team. They're far from it now. And the Brewers have World Series aspirations at this point. So what a different trajectory for these two teams, just opposite directions. Mets are spiraling, terrible coaching. I'm not real high on the Brewers coaching either, but look, the Brewers are smashing it, but the Mets are smashing it right now too. I got the Mets ranked number 3 in current form, and I got the Braves ranked 2 in current form. So I certainly would concur with an over in this. But the Mets bullpen is not performing very well, where the Braves bullpen is. So that would kind of look. I don't have a read on McClain, but I do have a read on Wentz. He's had 4 starts where he pitched over 5 innings, and he only got blown up in one of them. And that was against the aforementioned Brewers. So I have a little faith in Wentz. I would take the Atlanta Braves team total over perhaps in this one. That would be the way I would go. I haven't played it yet though.
There's a good chance I have this one up for sale. But if I end up with another play, I'll probably put the other play up for sale. So I'm just going to give it to you. Mets 4% client play will be my parlay leg. And listen, I agree with, so something Brian said, and now I can't remember if we were talking or if he said it on the show. I haven't had enough caffeine yet this morning, but he's right. The Mets are, it's the coaching that's a problem. Now, if they asked me to coach the team, which they're not going to do, but I am right here in their, in Syracuse. I could be at the AAA ballpark in a few minutes. I'd be leaning into the young pitching. I really think that that's the Mets' path to victory is leaning into the young starters that they have in their organization and taking some of these guys that have underachieved in the starter role and turning them into long relievers and just being like, hey, like we're still very much in the mix. TB, you said the Mets were a contender, said they're not anymore. I somewhat disagree with that. Like there's still a lot of season left. Like if this team figures it out over the next couple of weeks, the Mets are still very much a contender. And I think their path to do that is to lean into these guys that the league doesn't know much about, like a Nolan McLean, who I think my guy Colin Gregory in the chat was like, he's the real deal. Yeah, like this, he's going to be very good. Now, to Brian's point, could he get hit at some point? Like, is he going to come up and just not give anything up for, probably at some point, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has a second good start here. He looked really good in his debut. He's been great at the AAA level. His stuff is very good. Why not? Why can't he shut a Braves team down that's 9 games out? Yeah, you know what? You know what's funny about the Braves? They've played as good as they've played. They're still nowhere near being in the mix. I think that's going to start wearing on a team at some point with veteran guys like they have. Like they've played as good as they could play. They're still nowhere near being in contention. I still think you're going to see the Braves sort of mentally check out at some point. I'm not saying it's here, but I do think that they will. Colin said, thanks for the confirmation. Going to up my bet now is my biggest lean already. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm still a believer in the Mets, and I'm going to lean into the young pitching because I really like McClain. And on the other side, Joey Wentz is fine, but like what they've been getting out of Wentz is unrealistic, I think, to think he's just going to give you 6-7 innings of 1-run ball in a lot of these starts. I mean, I don't mind him as like a guy that like comes out of the bullpen for 3 innings and shuts a team down one time through. But like some of these outings are just not like the Brewers game that TB brought up is what I kind of more expect from Wentz as a starter, where maybe he goes 6 innings. He's going to give up like that one gave up 5 runs. The Rangers game, he pitched 4 1/3, gave up 4 runs. That's kind of where I have him as a starter. If you're going to throw him in for 3 innings, yeah, he can wipe a team out for 3 innings. But as a starter, I still think he gives something up. And I'm looking at the teams he didn't give anything up to. The Royals, well, they don't hit lefties. The Marlins, okay, Marlins can be hit or miss, right? Like the Marlins, sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. And the Guardians, who couldn't be worse, right? Like that lineup is atrocious. So I'm going to pump the brakes here on Joey Wentz a little bit. I think the Mets can get to him, and anything strong from McLean is going to put this team in a position to win. And maybe they'll luck their way into a win at the end of the game. Like they've had leads. They've been right there at the end of some of these games, can't get across the finish line. But I do think that changes as well. There's too many good relievers for it not to. So Mets client play and the first leg of our parlay. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, Riley, they have mentioned that he is having surgery. He will not be back this year. That he's been out for a while, but still, that hurts him. And it would not shock me if some of the other veteran players for the Braves, as the season goes on, get less playing time. That said, if the Braves are going to get up for any games, it'll be against the Phillies and the Mets. Those are the two teams that are the big rivals in the division. So that'll come later. But right now, the Met, and it's for the Mets in the play. If the Mets get in the playoffs, nobody's going to want to play them. I'm just telling you that right now. Everybody's rooting for Cincinnati to get there because Cincinnati, I think, is without the playoff experience, without the veteran experience, they won't have as much success in the playoffs. So, but good luck on that. I won't be involved in that one myself.
So it looks like it's Colin and I, and no one else. That's fine. Colin and I will bet the Mets tonight. There is some serious, like, I always like laugh when it's like someone's like, Adam must have a relative on the team. I got to be honest, I could care less about any of these 30 teams. Like, that's the one thing when you grow up in Albany, New York, we don't have a team. So it's like you kind of just become a baseball fan. Like a lot of people become Yankees fans, but like I never really had a team. Now, the reason I feel like I probably am sharper than the market on a guy like Nolan McLean is because I now live 30 minutes from Syracuse, and I've watched him at the AAA level probably more than the books have. So guys get called up, and I feel like the books kind of don't know how to price them the first couple times around. I'm willing to bet on the thought that he is like better than the average person coming up. I think his ceiling is potentially like number one, number two type guy. I think I saw something that SNY tweeted out about the spin rate on his slider or his curveball was like one of the highest in the league this year in his debut or something like that. I'll have to go dig up that tweet. Listen, stuff like that. The books are reactive to guys getting called up, okay? That is probably the biggest edge you will find betting Major League Baseball, which is a tough sport to find an edge. TB and I will find edges in Korea, Japan, AAA. The edges are more pronounced there. In the MLB, the books are very good, so I feel like you have to take advantage of stuff like this, and I'm going to try to take advantage of it tonight. So, listen, if you're with me on the Mets, great. If not, doesn't matter to me. I'll be on the Mets regardless. Okay, let's go back to another big game. I think we got this one. Well, I think Brian got this one right yesterday. And I said there might be some late runs, and there was. Red Sox Yankees got over at the end. And I believe, Brian Leonard, that you kind of liked over there. How about Roman Anthony? I don't think that ball has landed yet. I don't know what Yuri De Los Santos was thinking when he threw that pitch, but that was just an exclamation point that I believe put the game over in the top of the ninth inning. Red Sox take the opener. Do the Yankees with Max Fried on the mound bounce back today?
Yeah, I had somebody go into the chat later on in the day and talking about it, and he mentioned the wind was blowing in a little bit. I says, yeah, that was probably enough to keep me off of it. I liked it. Just about everything I liked on yesterday's show worked, except for my free play cost us a parlay. But yeah, we had a really good day overall. Just about everything we liked cashed. But yeah, this is a different game today. I like the Red Sox in this one. Anytime these two get together, for the most part, I like to play the underdogs. And since the second half started, Brian Bello has been so much better than Max Fried. Max Fried has been a bad pitcher the second half of the season. And yet he's taken money after what I thought was a high overnight line of 170. Now I'm seeing, up to 190 in some places. I don't understand that one at all. I have very, very much interest in the underdog here. Brian Bayo, 3.23 ERA, 4.41 expected. Granted, he's due for some negative regression, and that tells you that. His whip is 1.26. His whiff rate is low. His strikeout rate is low, but he does throw 6 different pitches, although the slider just 1% of the time. His four-seamer only throws 16% of the time, and it's league average. But when you go with Max Fried, his numbers were fantastic early in the season. They have not been nearly as good as of late. In fact, let me look that up here on Baseball Reference, another great website out there. Let's take a look at what he's done is of late. Since let's go back his last 5 starts, give up 4 earned runs, 2 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 7 earned runs. And he had only once has he gone more than 4 1/3 inning, or excuse me, 5 1/3 innings. He has just not been good. Everybody thinks he's going to bounce back. It would not surprise me if he goes on the IL, if he does not pitch well in this game here. His stats on the season will be pretty good, but all that happened early. 3.26 ERA, 3.65 expected, 1.12 whip. So his regression is a little bit negative here. He throws a lot of different pitches. He throws 7 different pitches, although the slider only 2% of the time, or it could be the slurve, but they got an SL and an SI, so it's probably the slurve. But regardless, he has not pitched well as of late, and there's no way he should be in this price range. Let's take a look at the first 5 here and see if we can make something out of this for Boston. Let's take a quick look at the team total. Boston is sitting here, team total in the game of 3.5 even money. I want Boston. I put that down as my parlay thing. Boston team total over 3.5, and that's minus 110. That's crazy, especially you talked about the way Boston's young hitters are playing. Now they brought in, a cast off from the Washington Nationals. He's your starting first baseman against lefties. He'll probably come off the bench here, but this Boston team's got a lot of depth offensively, and I'm just not a big believer in Fried. And normally I pay a lot of attention to these line moves, and unless there's injuries out there that I haven't read about yet, why would I not play Boston here? This is kind of a crazy line if you ask me.
Yeah, guys, I'm pimping tonight. It's Friday night in Japan, and I won my only Major League Baseball play yesterday, which was the Royals. I figured they would come back because they were the better team. And I won both of my KBO plays tonight, so I'm feeling good. And I'm not drinking Fireball, but I did drink Fireball before the show. I just can't do it in front of you. So, regarding this game, I'm gonna have to go against Brian here. I like the Yankees a lot here. I like them for 2 reasons. One is the way Fried has pitched against the Red Sox in his career. Really good numbers against them in 40 at-bats against a 175 average and a 677 OPS. I like that a lot. And he's a pretty good home pitcher as well. I agree with Brian, though, and my numbers agree with Brian, that Bayo is actually a better pitcher than Fried. I do agree with that because the numbers show it, and his expected numbers are much better than Fried's, actually. His numbers against the Yankee batters are fairly good. So it's not a high confidence play. But the second reason I like it is because the way they lost yesterday. They're just finding ways to lose, and their bullpen is more talented than this. Luke Weaver is not as bad as he's been pitching, but man, he's been bad. I think he's actually a good pitcher, though. I don't know what's going on over there. Williams was a great pitcher until he came to New York. I don't know what's going on, but I think they have too much talent in their bullpen. And I do, even with all the blowups and all of the errors, I mean, you got guys throwing the ball into space on double plays. It's like, what are you doing? But I still think Fried will hold him down. If you can't put balls into the field, then the Yankees can't screw it up. So I kind of like the Yankees here. Not a huge confidence play, but I think they're going to take this one at least.
I'm going to go back right to kind of my opinion yesterday, and I won't break the tie. I'm going to let you guys both have your thing. I'm going to say over again. I don't see why there wouldn't be runs in this game again. 18 hits in yesterday's game, yet there really wasn't a big inning. Every inning was like, every scoring inning was like 1 run. And it, like I said, it took the Roman Anthony 2-run 700-foot homer, which was awesome. You should go, if you haven't seen that, just go watch it like 10 times on repeat. I think I've watched it 20 times already. And I wouldn't be surprised, Brian, if he gets one a little high and tight tonight for that bat flip. He just kind of threw the bat in disgust at how far he hit that ball last night. But the reason that's important is that put the game over. And I feel like it barely went over, but the game itself had 18 hits. So there was more scoring. And then you talk about, look at the guys that came out of the bullpen last night. Chapman, Whitlock, Matz, Weissert for Boston. The Yankees used Duvall, Leiter, Weaver. A lot of bullpen arms used last night. So I wouldn't be surprised. And you're getting that 8.5 number, which is so important when it comes to totals betting overs, because it really is like there's so many ways to get to 4. And if you get to 4, it's a win, right? Like it's like the difference between 8.5 to like 9.5 when you're talking totals and betting overs is so massive that I feel like when you can find an 8.5 and then one priced at -110, because that's the other thing. Usually the 8.5 gets juiced, but it's not going to get juiced here because you got Fried. And then I'll just sort of lean into Brian's sort of belief that Fried may be a little bit overvalued at this point. I think 8.5 is a great bet in this one. And again, this has the feel of like playoff baseball, where if it is a close game, it's a big time leverage spot. And it's like, it's tough to get outs in those spots. The big leverage spot at Yankee Stadium Friday night, important game for both teams. So it's like there definitely could be some runs late. If you don't get them early, I think over 1/2 is a very good bet here. Go ahead, Brian.
I just want to, both you guys have a habit of saying what's on your mind. So I'm going to say what's on my mind here.
Let's hear
it. Jazz Chisholm came out yesterday after the Yankees had another 4 errors and said he thinks this infield is full of Gold Glove contenders. He's said a lot of dumb things in his life, and that's just the way he is. He's a happy-go-lucky guy that does that kind of things. This may be the dumbest thing I've ever heard a baseball player say about his team. Now, granted, he's trying to build them up a little bit, but he's part of the problem. He's a terrible fielder. The shortstop, I don't know what he's doing now, but he was leading the league in errors earlier this season. They just, the infield, the defense is terrible. The outfield, they're playing Stanton in the outfield. The rookie couldn't play the outfield. That was the problem coming into the season. This could be one of the worst contending teams defensively I have ever seen in Major League Baseball, and it is going to come back and haunt them. They're bad base runners. They don't play defense. They're all a bunch of big name guys living off their reputation, and they're in New York City. They may win it all. Who knows? But that is a dumb quote.
Let me up that. Aaron Boone yesterday in his post-game interview in his post-game, whatever they call it, interview, said that the Yankees fielding is on par with other teams in Major League Baseball. This is how disillusioned this team is. They're got to be the worst fielding team. They look like the Bad News Bears. It's really comical. So until like the first step of recovery is denial, or no, the first what you know what I'm talking about, AA meetings or whatever. The first step to recovery is recognizing that you have a problem. Yeah, they haven't recognized it yet.
So someone in the chat said Stanton is not a bad fielder, and now I need a wellness check on Sean because I think he had a heart attack. Because I pretty much did when I saw that as well. Dude, Stanton
my grandma fields better than that guy.
I mean, he just can't move.
She's dead.
Like he can't move anywhere. Like he can't cover any ground. Like he probably grades out toward the bottom of anyone that you would put in the outfield at this point because he can't cover any ground. So yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. My dead grandmother covers more ground than Stanton. And I'll go back to something I've said since last year. They are such a fundamentally poor team, but last year they got away with it because that's really how good that Yankees team was last year. Like let's look, that team made it to a World Series. Very, could have won the World Series if a couple of things broke their way. And they were fundamentally as bad as any team in the league. Well, now they don't have Juan Soto, and now they're the caliber of the roster caliber is a little bit less. I think it's glaring. Like this is might be the worst fundamental baseball team of all 30. and it's really starting to show now. Oh, we are fired up. It's Friday, and like this is great. That's the New York teams will do that. They really bring out like they really piss people off. I've noticed that. You bring up Yankees or Mets, and people really have an opinion.
You got to stop being fans if you're going to win at sports betting. You can't do it.
Yep.
You just can't do it. Brian doesn't bet on the Guardians every day. You can't do it.
I'd be broke.
Everyone needs to exhale. So let's talk Pirates Rockies. How about that? Colin.
That's a good exhale.
Colin, Bubba Chandler Day. Yeah, I told Mallory, I was like, hey, I'm not going to be around this weekend. I'm going to the ballpark like all weekend because I thought we were going to get Bubba Chandler here tonight. I've changed my plans. I'm just going to go to the game tomorrow because Bubba Chandler is no longer in Syracuse. He's joined the Pirates, and it looks like they're going to give him the Braxton Ashcraft treatment, which is long relief out of the bullpen. Well, that's pretty interesting because Braxton Ashcraft, I believe, is the starter in this game. So if you're unfamiliar as to what the Pirates have been doing with their young stud pitching that probably should be starting games, it's bringing them out of the bullpen because, again, why play to win games in Major League Baseball for some of these teams? Now, Ashcraft, after his purgatory was finished, he's now the starter. And what that means, Brian Leonard, is you are likely to get Braxton Ashcraft to Bubba Chandler tonight. That sounds pretty friggin' good. The problem is not much value in trying to back that because they play the Rockies. So how do you attack this one?
One last comment. Stanton is in the first percentile in sprint speed. He is very slow. He'll catch the ball, it's hitting right at him, but he's not what you want in the outfield. Okay, getting to this one. This one jumped off the page of me. And Colorado Sensatella, who we've been betting against all season long. He's been terrible. He did come back from the IL and pitched really a pretty good game for him last time out. Braxton Ashcraft, who is, I found out last time, he is not related to the Ashcraft for the Reds. But he's going today, and we're looking at anywhere from 182 to 194 on the Pirates as a home favorite. Total is 8.5. Normally, if Sensatella is not on the mound, I would be at the sports book right now, putting whatever I could into the machines before they open up and getting money on Colorado because there's no way Pittsburgh should be favored in this range against anybody. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games. Colorado's 7-3. Granted, Colorado's playing home, but they were playing the Dodgers. I mean, Colorado's playing some pretty good ball, but if you take a look at the standings on the season, Colorado right now on the road, 16-46 on the year. They're a bad road team every single year. We talk about it coming into the season. Right now, Colorado has been outscored on the year by 332 runs. The next worst team in baseball, the Washington Nationals, minus 151. And the Nationals at one point were somewhat around the 500 range. Now they're 23 games under 500. So they're if you take a look at the way the Nationals have played over the last month, they could be the worst team in baseball. But I can't trust the Rockies because they're so bad on the road. I can't trust them with Sensatella. But how the hell can you lay this kind of number with the Pirates? I'm not getting involved in this one. There's no way I can get involved in this. There's a lot of good games on today's card, by the way. And I do have a 5% going today. Another winning day yesterday. I've won 11 of the last 13 days. And you want to grab that 5% now is I think it's going to move. So I'll get that right now. And, nothing on this game for me. Just too many questionables.
Yeah, Brian's got a 5%. He's got a lot of winning days in a row. I am plus 98 units this year, number one at WagerTalk. And I think Adam is number one either the last 3 or 7 days, something like that. So all of us are having pretty good stretches here. Go to our pages down there. It's in the scroll. And you can go to just wagertalk.com and click experts. You'll see our free plays up. And I guarantee you Brian has a free play up. I have a free play up, and Adam probably will too. So check out what we got, guys.
I already gave out a play I should be selling. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But check our pages out, guys, and leave a comment on the replay here. It helps WagerTalk know that baseball is better than football, and It also lets them know that you guys like our show. Because they're not watching it right now. So let them know that you like it. So on to this treacherously horrible game. This is one of those games where you have to cover the logo. The books are giving way too much credit to Ashcraft here. Yes, he's had a couple of good starts, but he has not gone into the fifth. He's gone in the fifth inning once. Oh, Andy's watching. Okay. So he's not gone into the fifth inning in any starts but one. So he's gonna. I don't think, even though it's the Rockies, I don't think he's gonna have one of those 7-inning games. He's never had one, and this is one of those games where you have to cover the logo. If you cover the logo, you'll see that the Rockies are hitting number 11 in all of Major League Baseball right now. Granted, some of those numbers are skewed because they came off a series at home in that monkey park with the thin air like the moon, but their bullpen is actually number 10 in Major League Baseball in current form. So if you cover the logo, you would think they're like the Reds or something, but they're not. Their bullpen's actually better than the Reds, but their record is not quite where the Reds' record is. So the Rockies are not actually that bad, but their starter is. So how do you approach this? Well, the Pirates' bullpen is ranked 22 right now, and their hitting is ranked 26, according to my numbers. So I would not trust the Pirates to win the game, especially at that crooked number. But I do like the Rockies team total over 3.5 here. You could even alt it down to 2.5 and still get it for -160. I think that's pretty good value. But as a professional handicapper, I can't be recommending you to do -160s every day. So I think the Rockies over 3.5 is a pretty good play here. Yes, Ashcraft is pretty good, but he's not going to last the whole game. I expect him to go 4 innings. Maybe they'll score 1 run, maybe they'll score none, but they certainly can score 3 runs or more on this horrible bullpen. That's how I would do it.
I'm actually number 1 the last 30 days, 46-24 plus 60.82 units. So it's been a good run. I needed all 60 of those units because I did not have a great April and May. So we're getting them back. It's been a good stretch, despite the fact that I haven't had a great week in MLB. Seem to be hitting everything else. So listen, wins are wins. Can't complain. Earlier in the year, I couldn't lose an MLB game or I couldn't lose an MLB and I couldn't win in KBO. Now I'm having a nice run in KBO. So it is what it is. This is not a spot where I would worry much about the Pirates bullpen because they've pretty much told you it's going to go Ashcraft to Chandler. And I don't think the Rockies hit Bubba Chandler. Like I'm shocked that he's not starting. Like I'm really surprised they're doing this with him. Ashcraft wasn't quite as highly touted coming out of like through their farm system as Chandler was. I felt like Bubba Chandler was like a lock to get called up and just thrown right into that rotation. So it'll be interesting to see how he translates to like bulk relief. I will point out that this last sort of 2-month stretch has not been great for him at AAA, but I also think he was just bored. Like I really think Bubba Chandler in his head felt like he should have been on this Pirates roster in April or May. Because he was very good in the minors last year, and he came out of the gate as the best pitcher essentially in AAA this year for like the first 2 months of the season, or one of the best. I really think he was just like, what am I still doing here? We're 20 games under 500. I'm watching like bums get starts for the Pirates. Why am I still down here? And you know, that could wear on a guy. So I think you're going to see him perform well at the big league level. And I'm not a big team total guy. So like I was going to say, I'd probably go head to head with you, TB, and play Rocky's team total under, but that's just not really my style. I don't know exactly what I would do with this one. Honestly, I think I'd find someone to pair the Pirates with in a parlay. I can't lay a price with them, but I think especially if the Rockies took some money and this gets down to like -175 or something, -170, if you could parlay them with some, I mean, if you could parlay the Pirates with someone like, let's say, the Rangers, maybe, and get like better than even money, it's not the worst way to play. But other than that, it's just the books have really sucked all the value out of this one. If you like the Pirates, and that's unfortunate because I think Ashcraft to Chandler's a great setup for them. All right, let's see. Let's Okay, Mark Hinson. Let's get Mark Hinson in the mix here. He says, can we cover Phillies Nationals next? Yeah, that's a good game to talk about. The Nats come off of a couple of impressive results against the Mets. The Phillies look as good as any team in baseball right now. They just disposed of Seattle like it was no one's business, and that's a good Seattle Mariners team, Brian Leonard, that needed those games. Are the Phillies peaking here from a value standpoint? Are you trying to go against this team at this point?
No, especially against Washington. And they're going to really need a good effort out of Cade Savali tonight to keep this one close. We've got Philadelphia, Taijuan Walker going, and whoever thought I would be interested in Taijuan Walker in this day and age, but he's been one of their better pitchers. He's been very good. The current line is roughly about 185, let's say, against Savali, and the total is 9.5 to the under. Savali's been good so far, and he's a guy that I'm really rooting for because he's now age 27, and he's been a top minor leaguer for years, but he's always had problems with injuries. So far, so good in the majors. He got in 3 games, 2.20 ERA, 3.46 expected. So he's been a little lucky, 1.29 WHIP. But take a look at this Washington bullpen. Kind of crazy because this Washington team, I just mentioned how bad they were. They now scored by 151 runs on the season. They are not used to using the back end of the bullpen, and it is shown. The last 2 days, the closer threw 35 pitches in 2 games. Henry, who I really like, a young guy here, he threw 39 the last 2 days. Poulin pitched yesterday. I didn't even know who he was. He kept picked up on the waivers from Detroit. He threw 13 pitches, and then Clayton Beater, the old, I believe he was the Yankees organization.
Yeah.
And I think the Dodgers are the one that originally signed him, but he threw 20 pitches. So they're really hurting out of the bullpen. It would not surprise me if the old Cleveland Indian and former Chicago White Sox Plankinton would come in as their closer tonight, and that's not good. He's not very good. In fact, if you take a look at his overall rating, he's the 422nd best closer or best relief pitcher in baseball. So I'd like the Phillies to score some runs here. I use this as my free play on the site today. I played the over 5.5 runs here at plus money. You can get them at 4.5 and lay a little bit here, but I think they're going to get to Savali. I think Savali's been pitching over his head so far, and they're going to have to use him for at least 5 innings, probably more in this game to get that bullpen a little bit of a rest. And Walker's pitching very well. The bats are hot as hell for Philadelphia. I think they have a really big offensive day here. I like Philadelphia. Don't want to lay the 185 or whatever that's out there, but if you can get 6 runs out of Philadelphia today at plus 110 or better, I think that's a pretty good bet.
So this is what I love about this show is I was kind of on the fence about this game because I don't know enough about Savali. From what I've seen, he's pitched really well, but he hasn't gone really deep, but he doesn't walk anyone. He's got good K rate and things like that. So, comparing these teams next to each other, I mean, the Phillies are top 6 at everything. I'm with Brian here. I've never been a Taijuan Walker fan, but this season he's kind of turned me around. He's got great command. He's not walking anyone. And, this is what I like about the show is, we can learn something from each other. And I actually learned something from you guys in the chat as well. You guys are the most educated chat probably on any WagerTalk show. So we appreciate that. I think I will go with Philadelphia now after hearing Brian's analysis. One thing, you guys know I make a chronic walker list. Taijuan Walker is the opposite of a chronic walker. He's a chronic non-walker. Let me see my numbers here. He is actually walking only 1.02 guys per game. And Washington only walks 2.3. They're a very low walking team. So I will certainly play Taijuan Walker's walks 1.5 under if it's 1.5. Sometimes the books catch on and put it 0.5, which I would not play the under on that. Taijuan Walker walked 3 Washington batters in his 3rd start this season at home. Since then, he has not walked more than 1 guy at home in any of his home starts. So I think the under walks here, and I actually like Phillies on the money line as well. Cool gambling trick. Just take a -1. You can take 30 to 50 cents off the price. So Phillies -1 would be a good bet here.
We got to show some respect to. It's Cade Cavalli. We have an Aaron Savali who we don't want. I'm sure he doesn't want to be compared to because Aaron Savali is not what he's aspiring to be as a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. But Cade Cavalli, former 1st-round pick, he is a guy I'm kind of rooting for because I got to see him a bunch in Rochester and he had the injuries and now he's sort of getting his chance. I got to say, Brian, as I'm watching the Orioles game last night, I ended up on the Orioles yesterday and I should have listened to you because Brandon Young got bombed. Now, I thought the Orioles were going to do more of the bombing. They did not. But Cavalli is in kind of a similar spot here, where his last start was against the Phillies, and it was really good. Cavalli's last start was 7 innings of scoreless, 7 innings of shutout ball against this Phillies lineup. I am very, very certain that that's not happening again. Now, Taijuan Walker might not shut down the Nats because the one thing the Nats do well is hit right-handed pitching, especially right-handed pitching like Taijuan Walker, where he's not really overpowering them. Like that's the one thing I've noticed with Washington. Now, to Walker's defense, he just pitched against the Nationals and he pitched into the 7th inning, only gave up 2 runs on 6 hits. But the Nats have now seen him a couple times this year. The other, I think they scored 4 against him earlier this year. And this is kind of like the one thing the Nats lineup, I feel like they have success is when they get these right-handed pitchers because they can stack their lineup with pretty much all left-handed bats that aren't going to just blow them away with super high velo. So I think you do get some runs from the Nats tonight. But I mean, the Phillies right now, man, it wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't if Cavalli is not if he gets into a little trouble early, there could be the floodgates. It feels like the floodgates are opening often for Philly in their home ballpark, where they have been as good of a team at home as anyone in the league since the beginning of last year. I'm kicking myself in hindsight for playing the Mariners twice earlier this week. I don't think I gave Philly enough credit for just that knockout punch that they seem to have in their back pocket when they play at home, where it's it might be a 4-3 game in the 8th, but very quickly it's an 8-3 game because they get a couple base runners and then Schwarber hits one to Camden, New Jersey. So that could very well happen here. But also the Nationals are going to probably contribute to this total. I don't think that they're going. I don't think Walker's holding this lineup down. 3rd time seeing him this year. They've gotten some hits. They tend to hit right-handed pitching better. So I'll call this one an over. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I just wanted a little bit of the teaching segment here. Walker, going all the way back to 2021, he never even threw a cutter. Now he throws it more than anything else. And just last year, he threw it 137 cutters over the course of the entire season. That was his, that's his 6th most thrown pitch. Now it's his top pitch, and he's thrown it 457 times as opposed to 137. His expected WOBA on this is 285. This pitch may have saved his career. And you find the older guys, he's 33 years old. They've got to go out there. You take a look at his four seam. He only throws it 9% of the time. It's only 92.3 miles an hour. When he was young, I remember back when he was in Seattle and Marco and I went down to spring training. Great ballpark down in Peoria. The Padres in Seattle share it. Great food there. And of course, that's really important to Marco. He's a food critic, but basically he's a totally different pitcher. He's reinvented himself. And with this cutter, he's become a much better pitcher. And so a lot of times you'll find a lot of guys as they get older, they find new pitches. You see it with Verlander now. based on the way he pitched yesterday, the day before, I think he's done. But still, you've got a Walker who I think is redefining himself, and it doesn't help that he has faced this team, as you mentioned before. But when he plays somebody who is maybe an interleague game, I'm looking to play on Walker, and I think he's going to be very good in that situation.
It's such a good point. I feel like that's one of the most underrated, like, handicapping tools that you can have at your disposal. And this is what you get from like watching spring training baseball. So like people are always like, well, like, why would I watch spring training baseball? Well, you know, like how do I like learn anything from that? Spring training broadcast, one of the things they talk about constantly is pitch mix. Mm-hmm. Oh, this guy did this to his pitch mix. And that is like, it is so incredibly important because there is zero chance the books are pricing any of that in, or they even know. And really these all, and TB, I'm sure can expound upon this too. These guys are so good that like literally the mix of pitches that they throw and when they throw them could be the difference between having a sub-3 ERA or getting completely blown up. So when I hear guys like had some favorable results, like tweaking their pitch mix, it's always something I'm interested in. And yeah, like if you were ahead of that and you kind of like were front running that, you've made a lot of money betting Taijuan Walker this year. Because I mean, based on past stuff, you wouldn't have projected that this would happen. Another guy that comes to mind is Brady Singer. He had his little lull, but he improved his pitch mix, and the results have been overall pretty good. So that's a great point, Brian. Really good point. Andy Lang is in the chat. He says, listen, the three of us are always going to be baseball guys. I'll die on the hill that I think baseball is a better betting sport. I think there's more potential to make money in this sport than football, where
no doubt.
Yeah, they're very tough to unless you're getting down on FCS or you have really good info in college football. It's a very, very tough sport to beat. It just is. Our guy Fez will tell you that's why they offer the minus 103, minus 105 lines both ways on the NFL games. Can't beat it. Like, it's just a really tough thing to beat. But if you are into football, Andy Show, Wager Talk today, they are loading up the guests, great football guests, pretty much daily on that show. And that is right here at noon on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Okay, just a diabolical comment here. The kid says MLB is better for laundering money. I don't know if we can talk about that on this show, but just an insane comment, which I love. So thank you for
NFL would be better. They take a whole lot more money in the NFL than they do for
that's true.
Major League Baseball.
All right. Andy Lang says he can't wait for the parlay. Let's not keep him waiting, even though we still have 12 minutes left and we might be able to get to 2 games. Tokyo Brandon, do you know your parlay leg? And is it a game have we talked about it yet? Or do you want to throw a game out there for everyone?
We've already talked about it. I'm going to go against you, Adam. I'm taking the Rockies over 3.5 as my parlay leg. Yeah. They're just cover the logo. They're hitting number 10 in MLB. They're crushing it right now. And I think they're going to keep crushing it. I love their young guys that they've injected into that lineup. And guys like Moniak and those guys, they're hitting really well right now. So, they don't look like the Colorado Rockies. So I'll take their over 3.5. Right. They're on the road. They get 9 innings.
Yeah. And just to like go back to that for a second, like that's a game I have a very, very slight opinion in. Like, I won't be betting Pirates Rockies today. So I don't want to, I don't want to like put you off of that just because I think Ashcraft Chandler could be a nice combo, because really Ashcraft and Chandler could both pitch well and the Rockies could still get to 4 runs. Like, that's not, that's not crazy to think. We will circle back and read the parlay off again at the end of the show. Let's get to one more. What's up?
Did Brian put one out?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Boston team total over 3.5 at -110. Current number on the Colorado team total over 3.5 is -105. You can actually get them at even money if you shop. And the Mets I saw was basically +103.
Yeah, I saw. It's by the time we go read it again, it's probably going to be even money. I saw it looks like there's 2 groups battling that game because it hit plus money. It went back to the Mets. It's that'll be a fun one to see where the money goes in that one throughout the day. I thought it would have been on the Mets, which is why I released it already. But I wonder if someone faked it to get more down on the Mets, or maybe people just want it. Maybe there's groups that just continue to want to bet against the Mets. Maybe they're making money doing that. You'll see that sometimes where like a syndicate type group, if they'll just play against the same team every day. And maybe it's the Mets right now. Have Cash wants to know any opinion on Twins White Sox. This is an interesting one because both of these teams are kind of managing their organizations like AAA right now. We are in full developmental mode with Twins and White Sox. The problem is the White Sox are trying to develop at the big league level. For whatever reason, the Twins are not doing that. They have, I would say, a handful of their best players are still at AAA. Why? I'm not sure. But as far as this matchup is concerned, Brian, Zebby Matthews is the guy I'm interested in. But again, like in the price is, I guess, cheap enough. But the White Sox, they're sneaky. They've played good ball. I'm not sure I want to bet against them. Are you getting involved, Twins White Sox?
Probably not. We're looking at Matthews, 135 maybe. And Savali's going for the White Sox, and you've already mentioned how much you love Aaron Savali. 8.5, slightly to the under in this game. Zebby Matthews, he changed the way he approached baseball this year. Last year, he was a guy that threw everything into the strike zone, and he got hit. He had a 6.69 ERA, 1.65 whip. This year, he's trying to overpower everybody, and he struck out 63 batters in 48 innings. He's been able to do that, but it hasn't really materialized for him. His ERA is still at 5.06, whip 1.44. Expected ERA is 4.06, so he's due for some little positive regression here. 90th percentile in strike percentage, whiff percentage 82nd, fastball velocity 84. He does throw the four-seamer 41% of the time at 96.6 miles an hour. And he does throw, he's got 6 pitches he throws, but mostly it's his fastball and his slider. Aaron Savali had some good years in Cleveland, but right now he's got a 4.88 ERA, 4.20 expected, 1.35 whip. He's in the first percentile in extension despite being 6'1". That's not a good thing. Ground ball rate, 12th percentile. This is probably a pretty good hitter's park for home runs. Fastball velocity, 17th percentile. The only thing he really does, he keeps the opposition a little off balance. Average exit velocity in the 76th percentile. Throws 6 pitches, and his cutter 34% of the time. So in this game, I think there's a pretty sizable pitching advantage for Minnesota. But do I trust them when he's out? If I'm looking at this game at all, I'm probably looking at the first 5 for Matthews, and you're getting roughly slightly a little bit more, about a 140 favorite, as opposed to what it is for the game, which is about 135, as low as 128, I say some places. But if I had to play it, I'd play Minnesota first 5. But then again, you've got a team that's completely out of the playoffs, a very disappointing team. Tough to back those kind of teams at this point of the season, so I will pass.
So college football is starting this weekend, and this game, to reference to college football, this would be Eastern Washington versus Northern Arizona. 2-0 teams that have nothing to play for and will be a garbage game, but we can still make money on betting Eastern Washington sometimes, right? So take a look at the game. You know, first of all, who names their kid Zebby? Seriously, his parents need a mental health
his name's
check.
Zebulon. I think that's short.
My goodness. Who named this kid? Frank Zappa? What's going on here?
I don't know if it's his first name, though. I think that might be a
nickname.
Yeah.
I am from the planet of Zebulon. Anyways, so okay, he's got some wacky parents. So neither one of these pitchers really are striking me as being great. Got them both kind of toiling in mediocrity here. Savali's stats are just everywhere. I mean, he's got a low average against versus these batters, but his OPS is over 830, which means they're not hitting him often, but when they do, they're long balls. So I don't know what to make of this. And Savali has an even weirder stat. He's got a 3 ERA on the road and a 6 ERA at home. So pretty wacky, weird stuff that I can't make any sense out of. So I'm staying way away from this game. But the White Sox are hitting a lot better than the Twins. I have them rated 10 in current form, where I have the Twins rated 26. But the Twins bullpen ranked 16 and the White Sox bullpen ranked 20. So make of that what you want. But this is one of those just wacky pinball games that nobody has any idea where this is going to go. Maybe Adam has an idea.
Nah, I wish I did. I'll tell you, his full name is Daniel Zebulon Matthews.
Zebulon.
I'm glad he went with Zebby though, because like Dan Matthews, I feel like would just get lost in the shuffle, right? Like at least I know who we're talking about when someone
like the
says
Dave
Zebby.
Matthews Band.
Yeah.
Who gives their kid the name Zebulon, even for a middle name? Those parents are on crack.
That's a great middle name though. Yeah, I don't know where you come up with that, but
parents are smoking crack.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Brian made a great point. Zebby shot up through the organization last year because he's older. I believe he went to Western Carolina. So he's like one of these 4-year college guys that didn't get to affiliated ball until he was like 23, probably 22, 23. So I think he started in high A last year, shot all the way up to the big leagues. And what Brian mentioned was very true. Like he was able to cruise through the minors by throwing a lot of strikes and having this big fastball. But when you just live in the zone and you're at the big league level, you better either have some serious late bite to those pitches, or you better be able to command them within the zone, because otherwise living in the zone in the majors doesn't work typically. And if you catch too much of the plate, big league hitters are going to expose that. And that's what happened to Zebby Matthews. So he's really been trying to figure out how to throw more balls, really. But you can't just get wild and walk guys. So that's been the battle for him this year. I would say he's had, for the most part, success. Like if I'm the Twins and I'm looking at his season, I'm pretty happy with what I've seen. The numbers might not show that with the 5 ERA and the 144 whip. But, there's some games where start against the Nationals, 7 strikeouts, 6 scoreless innings, 7 strikeouts. He had 9 strikeouts against the Yankees a couple starts ago. So, I definitely think it's there. The problem is, as much as I'd love to find a spot to play on him, how do you trust this Twins bullpen right now when it's all basically not not top guys? So they've traded away all their top guys, and they have a lot of their better guys are still at AAA. So how do you trust the guys behind him? A, and B, why would you ever want to pay any sort of premium price for this Twins team right now? Like if you're going to take a shot with the Twins, you've got to get him as an underdog. So even though I think this is a decent matchup for them, minus 135 to minus 140 is kind of crazy. So I would have to stay off. Go ahead, Brian.
Just wanted to point out a weird scheduling situation tomorrow. Tampa Bay, it's a Saturday. Tampa Bay is not playing. The reason why they're not playing is they play at Steinbrenner Field, which is right across the street from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium. The Buccaneers play it tomorrow. So in order to make sure that the people don't have to battle going in and out of one and into the other, they've decided to not play it tomorrow. So don't look for Tampa Bay on your schedule on a Saturday, which when was the last time somebody was not scheduled on a Saturday? Just very strange.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I think that happened one other time for the Rays this year. I think they share parking too. So it's like, it would definitely be like logistical nightmare if that was the case. All right, it's 10 o'clock. Let's recap the parlay one more time. Brian, what do you want to call even money for the Mets?
Yeah, make it even money now. You can still get, last time I looked, you can still get plus 107 at Pinnacle, but you can't bet that in the United States, so that doesn't help any of us.
TB, you want to give the folks a quick promo? I think Brian's got a 5%er going.
Mm-hmm. Brian's got a 5%er, and my apologies to Zebulon's parents for saying they're smoking crack. Some would say I look like the guy who sold it to them. So my apologies to Zebulon's parents there. So Brian's got a 5% out. I've got my MLB play out. Adam, is yours out yet, or? I gave the only thing I have out so far today on the show. Mets is a 4%er for me, but I will have something. But you know
else
what?
up.
But Adam, usually puts a free play out, even if he doesn't have a play for sale. I have a free play up. Brian is required to put a free play up. So we all have a free play up. So check our page out and also leave a comment on the replay of this show. It helps us out more than you know. Just take 10 seconds and leave a comment. We'll respond to them as well. You can tell us that we look funny or that we are terrible cappers, and we will respond. But we're not terrible cappers. Brian's had, 11 out of 13 winning days. Adam's number one the last 30 days, and I'm number one in 2025. So you can't really say we're bad cappers. You can say it, but it's not really true.
Well said, TB. I think that was well said. It truly, it just is. It's a grind, man. It is a grind, and we're just trying to help you guys with that grind. Share some info, and then for the crowd that says we don't give enough picks, I could have sold the Mets for $25 today. I just decided to give it to you guys for free. So to recap the parlay, 4%er for me is the Mets. We'll call it even money. Which I think it's probably going to go off -105 even money. So even money for the Mets. That is my parlay leg as well. That's why I'm talking about it still. Brian Leonard's going Boston Red Sox team total over 3.5. And then we've got Tokyo Brandon going Rockies team total over 3.5. That comes out to plus 645. We started the week on Monday with a nice 3-teamer. Let's see if we can end the week with another 3-team winner. I think we fell one short yesterday. I think we were 2 of 3. So let's see if we can get it done. Listen, 1 parlay a week is fine. That'll keep us afloat, but 2 would be really great. So one more time, I'm on the Mets, full game. Oh, these are all full games. I'm on the Mets. Brian's got Red Sox team total over 3.5. Tokyo Brandon Rockies team total over 3.5. Parlay play 645. That's it for the week. Have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll be back Monday morning, 9 a.m. See you guys then.
Welcome into Drew Silly Diamonds for Friday, August 22nd, 2025. I am Drew Martin breaking down the Major League Baseball slate here, the weekend starter. Let me know in the comments below where you agree, where you disagree. All is welcome. It helps grow the show in the YouTube comments below. Smash that like button if you're liking the content. As we got first game up, 6:40 Eastern time, PNC Park, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for the Pirates, hosting the Rockies. Battle of last place teams here with Antonio Sensatella on the hill for the Rocks. Braxton Ashcraft going for the Pirates. -195. That's the Pirates as the home favorite. 8.5 being the total. I think the dog is barking here, guys. I mean, what in the world is the Pirates doing laying near $2? I don't know if they should be laying, -195 to some beer league softball teams out there. This team's 20 games under themselves. They're just 3-8 their last 11. Whereas the Colorado Rockies, look, they're not making the playoffs by any means. A 37-91 record here. But the fact is, they've won 7 of their last 10 games. They're cashing some tickets recently, and it's kind of that profile in sports betting that I love to bet. When terrible, terrible teams that the market's thrown off, they just become better, a little bit better than that. That is a good way to cash some tickets here at plus prices in MLB in the month of August. So I think they check that box here. And Antonio Sensatella, their starting pitcher, the 30-year-old Venezuelan, not good numbers overall. He actually got knocked around by this Pirates offense earlier this month, but then he went on the IL with a blister issue and came back last time out against the Arizona Diamondbacks, a lot better lineup, and threw a gem. 5 innings, only giving up 4 hits and 0 earned runs. So maybe you can ride that in here. And he's up against Ashcraft for the Pirates, kind of a bullpen guy. He's made 3 starts, but he's averaging just 3 innings in those starts. So we get the hotter lineup with the Rockies. Again, playing better baseball recently. I like him here, guys. +170, risk 100 to win 170. The underdog is barking in PNC Park. It's the Rockies over the Pirates to start us off with hopefully a big plus price winner. That would go a long way to start the weekend. All right, next one up, 7:10 Eastern, heading to the Motor City for the Detroit Tigers, hosting the Kansas City Royals. Burgert on the hill for the Royals. Casey Mize going for the Tigers. -160. That's Detroit is the home favorite. 8.5 being the total. This is the first place and second place teams in the AL Central, and Kansas City comes in 9.5 games back of Detroit. They're playing a lot better baseball. 6-1 their last 7. They got Bergert on the hill, the 25-year-old out of West Virginia, the former Mountaineer. He's a rookie, but he's got good numbers. Sub 2.8 ERA in 10 starts. He's been throwing the ball well. He's up against the former first pick overall out of Auburn and Casey Mize, who has decent numbers overall. It's not like lights out, but his last time against this Royals lineup, he only lasted 3 innings, giving up 8 hits. He got knocked around in that game. This Royals offense, top 5 lineup in MLB over the last week by weighted runs created plus. And Detroit, they've kind of struggled a little bit recently against righties. So with Bergert pitching well right now, I like the Royals side, guys. So we're going to go with another underdog to start us off on Friday. It is the Royals plus 145. Risk 100 to win 145. That's the Royals over the Tigers. So if we can hit one of these two to start off the Friday slate, that would be great. If we hit both of them, man, this is going to be a good Friday night. Guys, let me know in the comments below where you agree, where you disagree. Any comment is more than welcome. Your picks for this weekend. We got college football starting. We got NFLX, the NFL preseason there in their last week. And we got Major League Baseball going strong into the playoffs. So a good time to be a sports bettor here. Late August, come September. If you're interested in premium picks, check them out. WagerTalk.com, experts page, Drew Martin. Got a special up for NFL, college football. If you buy that at a discount, a special discount there, you get the rest of MLB for free through the World Series. So that's through the Super Bowl, through the National Championship, through the World Series, all 3 sports, discounted price. Drew Martin, experts page, WagerTalk.com. All right, guys, we got, actually the recap for the show. Don't have the Thursday's results because I'm doing this in the 8 o'clock Eastern hour on Thursday. So some of the night games still going on. Wednesday, another profitable day, grinding it out. 2-1 plus 1.04 units. The Yankees did cash as a slight underdog there against the Rays. That brings the record to 205 and 157, 56% winners, plus 43.4 units of profit. So it's been a profitable endeavor here. Drew's Daily Diamond going throughout the summer in baseball. Going to look to keep it going on the diamond and on the gridiron here, guys. So always appreciate you tuning in each and every day on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, at least 6 out of the 7 days of the week. Some of you guys giving me some comments there about not doing one on Monday the last couple weeks, but I did take a day off. Either way, guys, let's look to end it with another winner in the or hopefully another winner. 7:35 Eastern. We're heading to the Sunshine State. Tampa Bay Rays hosting the St. Louis Cardinals. Miles Mikolas on the hill for the Redbirds. We get Adrian Hauser going for the Rays. Minus 130. That's Tampa as the home favorite. Total of 9. Now we've talked about the Rays a bunch over the last 2 weeks. We've been fading them a lot, especially against the Yankees, which we just talked about in terms of they were on that 4-city West Coast road trip. They came home. I felt like that was still a fade spot. They did score some runs in the second game, and now staying at home off of an off day yesterday, I believe. Either way, I like the Rays to kind of a little bit of buy low here. And at minus 130 with a lot better pitcher on the hill, I like the Rays at home. I mean, it's an interesting scheduling spot in this series. They're going to actually be off on Saturday, and that's why they played on Thursday night. So, no, this is game 2 of the series. So, yeah, I was a little bit mixed up in my notes here. But you got to remember they're playing in the minor league ballpark, so they had to move around the scheduling. The Buccaneers had a preseason game pretty much right across the street. So it's an interesting one where they're playing Friday night. They're not going to play on Saturday, so it might matter for the bullpens, which I do give a slight edge to the Rays. But either way, Hauser on the hill for the Rays. His last time out, 5 innings, 0 earned runs, 6-0 strikeout to walk ratio. He was traded midseason. He's got a 2.6 ERA. He's a guy I'm looking to bet on. And he's up against Miles Mikolas. The 36-year-old's just 6-9 on the season with a 5 ERA. He's 2-7 his last 9 decisions. And he's got home road splits where he's really struggled on the road. Now we're asking him to go into a minor league ballpark here where he's given up 5 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 8 earned runs, and 6 earned runs his last 4 road starts. I think he's going to get hit around here, guys. The Rays have hit righties a lot better than lefties. I think the 30 cents is short. Rays minus 130 to end the Friday card over the Cardinals. In recap, we got the Royals over the Tigers plus price plus 145, and the Rockies, big dog barking, plus 170 over the Pirates. That does it for the Friday show. We'll be back on Saturday. Come back and join us. Until then, cash those tickets. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Thanks for tuning in.
College football season is here, and you are not going to want to miss a second of the action on the next episode of Bet on It. Stewart here in Dublin, joined by Marco D'Angelo and Gianni The Greek. Football season is finally here, boys, and well, sort of, I guess. It is week 0, and we have a handful of games, but rather than bore you with the likes of Idaho versus UNLV, we're going to start with the top 25 matchup, and I'm going to get right into it. Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern, Kansas State is now a 3-point favorite versus Iowa State. 49.5, and this game is the reason why I'm in Dublin, where it's being played. And since Marco D'Angelo thinks I cannot be unbiased with my team, I'm going to give you guys an excerpt from the Gold Sheet. This is a massive game to kick off the season with because of how closely contested the Big 12 is expected to be. They have, the Gold Sheet, 9 teams rated within a touchdown of one another at the top of the league entering 2025. Iowa State has had some recent success in this matchup. That's right. Pains me to read this, but they are 4-1 straight up and 5-0 against the spread in the past 5 seasons. But according to the Gold Sheet, they are interested in laying the points with the Wildcats. Per Jeff Sagrin, these teams played near identical schedules last year. Iowa State, number 34, Kansas State, number 38. But the Wildcats were better in nearly every metric aside from the record column. Kansas State outgained its opponents by 83.4 yards per game, and the Wildcats held a 1.3 yards per play differential over their opponents, while Iowa State only had a 0.16 edge. K-State had a better offensive and defensive success rate than the Cyclones, and per ESPN's Bill Conley, the Wildcats have a higher returning production number, and K-State attracted a better class of recruits and transfers. Iowa State was the beneficiary of a +9 turnover differential last season, and K-State was -1. Now, as long as that turnover demon doesn't appear, we feel comfortable laying the small number with the Cats in Ireland. Guys, that's the Gold Sheet team, and they're ready for the 2025 season. They're offering up their top NFL and college football win totals for just $5. WT.buzz/TG to find those $5 releases. Each Gold Sheet release comes with expert analysis to help you cash those tickets throughout the season. Now that I gave you guys the, we'll call it the proper analysis, I'm going to take a tweet that I saw on X. This game has shit the bed written all over it. High expectations, travel game, spotlight game, trying to remain optimistic, but as a Kansas State fan, we usually do not do well under these competitions. 2012, the Baylor game. Yep, that's right. K-State was undefeated and a 13.5-point favorite in that one. 2014, which I was at that game, K-State was a 7-point underdog at home, missed multiple field goals, dropped touchdown passes, and lost to Auburn. Alabama, they got out to an early lead, and then Alabama just rolled in the second half. And then, of course, that BYU game last year under those bright lights in Provo. I'm going to go over to VR because VR, as well as the Gold Sheet, did a nice synopsis of how I truly do feel about my Wildcats. I've seen this dog and pony show for far too long. Tell me I did not come to Dublin to lose.
No, I could tell you this. There's sharp money on both sides of this game because whenever there was a 3.5, it kind of got picked off with Iowa State. So they're definitely looking to take Iowa State at -3. Also saw some Kansas State money at -3. So you got a difference of opinion between sharp bettors, and that's why it's staying at 3. I think they're going to let the market decide come Saturday when recreational bettors join the party. I have a lean on this game because I thought Iowa State came in a little bit overvalued into 2025. Like I got my 15 teams that I think are undervalued, 15 teams that I think are overvalued, and Iowa State's definitely near the top of the overvalued teams. They won. It's almost a fade of Iowa State as much of a bet on Kansas State. Because I remember this is coming off the first time they've ever won 11 games, and they were a little bit phony, the Iowa State team. They returned their quarterback. I know everybody's excited about Rocco Beck returning. Had a good year last year, 25 touchdowns, 3,500 yards passing. He just doesn't have anyone to throw the ball to yet. The receiving core is gone, so it's going to take a little while to figure out what they have. So far, I don't like the pieces there, but they can prove me wrong. But I don't think that's going to happen early on. So they're going to be dependent more on their run against Kansas State. That's a recipe for disaster. If there's one strength they had last year, it was stopping the run. And I don't think anything's going to change from that defense. Also, the perfect storm is you have overvalued versus undervalued. I thought Kansas State had a decent year last year, but they underperformed the betting market. Even though, they won a lot more games than they lost, they went 3-7 against the spread. So they continue to underperform. So I think you have a little bit of an undervalued versus overvalued spot here. And I just like the pieces that Kansas State's returning. You got Avery Johnson back, new offensive coordinator, probably going to have them pass more. I don't think that's a problem, but they know they got their leading receiver back. And they do have a running game they could rely on. I think they're balanced with their defense. I think this is Kansas State's game to lose. Like you said, turnovers ultimately decide a lot of games. But if they could play a little mistake-free football, this is a very winnable and big game for them to start off the season with a win against Ohio State, who they lost against last year. And, Iowa State coming off, forgive me, that bowl win as well. So they're coming in with a lot of excitement. But I think Kansas State gets the win in Ireland. Give me Kansas State -3.
Marco D'Angelo, I have traveled over a lot of parts of this country so far in the past week, and I have seen probably 2-1, if not 3-1, Iowa State to K-State fans, and that concerns me. Maybe K-State fans are showing up late. Maybe they're just not where I am. But if this crowd is 70-30, do you still like the Wildcats here?
Well, Kelly, I gave you a lot of grief last week about the Kansas State, you being a, non-biased backer, but I do like them here. And here's the thing, you talked about we've got revenge for Kansas State. The last 2 seasons they lost to them. Ironically, both of those games were the last game of the season, the last 2 seasons, where this year we're kicking it off the first game of the season. And I think that's actually going to play into Kansas State benefit in this one. Why do I say that? Well, we know both teams are bringing back their starting quarterbacks, so that's a plus for both teams. But last year, Kansas State is one of those teams that I refer to, you'll hear me often on the show, a 200 club member. This is a team that ran the football for 200 yards, passed the football for 200 yards. That balance is going to give them, I think, a leg up starting the season in this matchup. They bring back all the key components of what they did on offense last year. Now, when we flip to defense, there's where a little bit of the concerns were. And the concern is obviously in the Kansas State secondary. But they have a good defensive line. And I think because of that, in starting the season, Beck, returning quarterback for Iowa State, he lost a few of his pieces last year. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for them on the offensive side. And it's his targets that he had last year at wideouts. This is going to be where I think the edge comes into Kansas State. And with that balance, you go back to last year. If you look at the stats, Kansas State should have beat them last year. Okay. The 2 turnovers did them in, and we never can truly handicap turnovers. And if we have a clean game, I think this is Kansas State's game to win. I like the fact that it's the first game of the season. I know what you said about, the travel, but they both got to do it. And let's look for this one. I almost pulled the trigger on the under as well, because if you look at the last couple games and you look at both quarterbacks coming back and you think of Big 12 and you think about the shootouts, you want to go over. But how many times have we seen in the NFL when they play these games overseas where we saw lower scoring games? And the fact that it's the first game of the season and all of the importance because this is not your normal first game of the season. This is a big game that could go a long way in determining who wins the Big 12 this year. So I don't think they're going to come out throwing it all over the yard. They're going to play conservative, not to make a mistake. I like Kansas State. My projected score is Kansas State 27-20. If you want to put a little on the under, I don't have a problem with that either.
I don't hate the 27-20 final, Marco, and I hope this next game ends up 27-20. Fresno State, Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, heads to Lawrence, Kansas to play the Jayhawks. 50.5 is the total here. VR, can you confirm what John Murray told me a couple weeks ago, that sharp money came in at Fresno State, catching 2 touchdowns? Now you're looking at coming back on the other side.
Yeah, because that number's gone. Again, if you got 14.5 on Fresno State, I could understand it. You know, there's a lot of excitement, new head coach. I just don't think this is a good spot for them. The group I work with, we weren't behind any of that Fresno State money. I just think the return of Jalen Daniels is huge for Kansas. They're really excited about this year. They brought in a new defensive coordinator. That was they're talking about is just how physical this defense is going to be. Renovated home stadium, first game. I just think this is a good spot for Kansas. And Fresno returns a lot of players, but so what? Like, again, like it doesn't mean much unless you have a really, really good team. And I just think this another team that's a little bit overvalued is Fresno State. I look at Kansas as a team that always more or less gets no respect from the betting market. And here's another example of that. They see Fresno State getting 2 touchdowns and they're getting the money. I think this has blowout written all over it. One-sided. I don't think Fresno State's going to be able to put up a lot of points at all against this Kansas defense. And I think in the second half, they just start winning by margin. It gets further and further and further away, and it gets harder and harder for Fresno State to catch up. I think they easily cover this 12.5. Again, if you got 14.5, you got a good bet. I get it. You got some closing line value, but I just think right now where it sits, it's favorite or pass situation. And I just don't think Fresno's defense is going to be able to handle the run game, especially at the quarterback running. Daniel's legs are just going to do too much damage against this defense. Give me Kansas, lay the points, and should win comfortably here.
All right, Marco, you like the total here, which I find to be very interesting because I think it correlates with my play on the game.
Yeah, Kelly, I'm looking at this one, and as VR mentioned, Kansas has a new defensive coordinator, DK McDonald. He's going to look to fix a defense that gave up 29 or more points 6 times last year. Now, McDonald is no stranger to being around good defenses. 2 of his previous stops was Iowa State and Philadelphia. In the NFL, which we know has a good defense. And sometimes the best defense is a good offense. And this offense will be led by Jalen Daniels at quarterback. He's a dual threat quarterback who got better last year as the season went on. I look for them to play ball control in this one. And the word out of there with that good offensive line that they have, they are going to concentrate and utilize Daniels more running a read option attack. And against a team like Fresno State out of the Mountain West, we've seen this happen, so often, the Mountain West teams, some of them will put up some glossy numbers in a soft conference. And then whenever they play a more physical team outside of the conference, they're in trouble. And I think that's what's going to happen in this one. So why am I going with the under? Well, Kansas defense has been a concern always, but we're going to look at a Fresno State team that in comes a new head coach. Matt Ernst is coming in. He's bringing in a quarterback who transferred from Rice, E.J. Warner. Now, if you recognize that last name, yes, it is Kurt Warner's son. And he hasn't really done anything special as far as the quarterback goes with stat-wise, other than having that last name. I think he's going to struggle early on in this one, and I don't think he's going to get as many opportunities because I think Kansas, with that ball control, is going to manipulate the clock and shorten the game. So with that said, I'm going under the total here. I've got this game, Kansas, 28-17 type of game. So, yeah, maybe the dog hangs around, but I see 45 or less points being scored in this one being the opener of the season for both teams.
Marco, I do agree with you there on the under. 5-1 to the under the last 6 non-conference games there for the Jayhawks. And don't forget, Kurt Warner's kids 2-0 against the Jayhawks. That was Cade Warner from the Kansas State Wildcats. All jokes aside there. I will get to that breakdown here in a minute. Right now, I'm going to let you guys know you can buy September All Access for Marco D'Angelo and now get the rest of August free. This includes all sports. And last year, Marco was number 2 in college and pro football combined in Money One. You're going to get all of his 5% plays as well. 31, 13 in the last 44 for Marco. WT.buzz/MD. I'm going to kind of get to this one. I agree with VR. Maybe I missed the best of the number. And something says, hey, sit around and wait. I do think we're going to see some money come in on the Jayhawks here between now and Saturday. And rightfully so. VR hit the nail on the head. You got Jalen Daniels coming back, but unfortunately, Devin Neal left for the NFL. So now you have a running quarterback who has had several injuries throughout his career in his senior campaign. And yes, they have a new stadium that is halfway finished. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how many people show up for this game. I think bottom line, I haven't seen enough from this Jayhawks team to show me that they're going to be consistent enough to be able to blow somebody out. We weren't able to see this team cover spreads. Last year, they lost games they, by all intents and purposes, should have won. If you look at some of the ESPN metrics, they had 95+% chances to win those games and couldn't get it done. And now we're asking them to lay double digits. I don't know. This is a team who's missed the postseason 12 out of their last 14. I'm siding with Fresno State here. Slight lean, especially if we can get a little bit higher of a number back come kickoff. Let's break down this last game headed into Saturday late night. I will be, well, not on an airplane yet, but headed to the airport by the time this one gets over. Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Stanford is now a 2.5-point underdog at Hawaii. Total 52.5. Marco, break down this one. I know you like the total here as well.
Yeah, but Kelly, I'm actually going to do a little pivot and do a team total, not the total for the full game. We look at this Hawaii team, and this will be year 4 under head coach Jimmy Chang, and the offense has seen improvement each of the first 3 years under his leadership. They are starting a new quarterback this year. He played at New Mexico, he played in the season finale against New Mexico, and they put up 38 points in that. He saw action in the final 4 games of the season last year, kind of getting him groomed for this season. The offense also returns their top running back and their top 2 receivers. So I expect them to hit the ground running, as this offense will be able to put pressure on a Stanford defense. Now, Stanford gave up 31 or more points in 7 of their last 9 games last year, and that's a concern. They also have a new head coach who took the team over late, as Stanford had to let head coach Troy Taylor go after some off-the-field problems. Enter Frank Wright. He takes over, and we know Frank Wright, former quarterback in the NFL, Indianapolis Colts, and everything else, head coach. This is a guy that's been an offensive-minded person, not so much on the defensive side. So with this Hawaii offense playing at home in the season opener, I don't know if Stanford's going to have any distractions playing in Hawaii, but that's always a concern. Teams, Hawaii has done well, and I know there's a history of Hawaii as underdogs in these spots, but they're not an underdog in this one. They started out that way, but they're not anymore. I'm going to go with the Hawaii offense. I think they get points in this game. We're looking at a team total of 26.5. With the returning starters that they have, I think they get over that number. I don't think Stanford is ready to take a polished offense yet, with all the changes that they have coming up this season, with the turnover from last year to this year. Let's go ahead and take Hawaii. They seem to like to throw the ball around. Let's keep it going. I hope Jimmy Chang keeps the ball moving on Saturday night, late night. And Kelly, I am surprised. You're going to be heading to the airport Saturday night. You're not staying in Ireland to be, drinking Guinness and everything, celebrating a Kansas State win with all of your alumni?
Clearly, Marco doesn't understand how time changes work. We're 8 hours ahead of Las Vegas. So pretty much by the time that game ends, I need to be getting up and headed to the airport.
Okay.
All jokes aside, Marco, I hope what you said about Timmy Chang and his squad is correct, because I do like Hawaii here as well. As you mentioned, 18 starters from last year's team that could barely squeak out 5 wins. But I do think this team is going to be prepared, especially for this game. From Mark Lawrence's newsletter, Hawaii 11-2 against the spread in season opening games against opponents, including 9-1 when playing against Revenge. So as long as you're not playing an FCS school, it bodes well for this team. I do think Chang, who has cashed 6 straight home games as an underdog and opened as an underdog, now as a favorite, will get it done again. VR, before you give us your breakdown here on Stanford, Hawaii, please let everybody know about your promotion, Ace 100, that's going to take $100 off your 30-day all-access package.
Yeah, and it's a good time right now, especially with the football coming in. Won 10 of my last 14 preseason bets. As you can see, the information keeps coming in football. I talked about the college and the NFL season ahead. And, of course, throughout this next month, there's also baseball coming down the stretch as the playoffs get here, which is always a good time to do some damage. And throughout MMA. So you get $100 off and jump on the next 30 days. And let's do some damage, especially with the football here.
Yes, I am so excited for football season. VR, tell me why you like Hawaii money line. Is it because we missed the boat on the plus 2.5?
Yeah, I worry about that. One of the groups I work with took Hawaii at plus like 1.5, plus 1. I laid money line minus 115 with my subscribers on the Hawaii side. I don't love that the sharps and the public are all on the same side, Hawaii, and it hasn't gotten up to that key number of 3. So pay attention to that, especially if the money starts to continue to come in on the Hawaii side. Now, I liked Hawaii before they even bet it, because I thought Stanford's one of those teams that, again, another slightly overvalued team. And it's hard to be overvalued when you only won 2 football games the year prior. But it's all the noise surrounding Stanford right now. Andrew Luck, the new GM, Frank Reich, new head coach, all NFL experience. That hype alone is adding a premium to Stanford that I don't think is warranted. They haven't proven anything yet at this college level. This isn't like a hand-picked team by Reich and Luck. So, if it's going to take a couple years before it's their program. So all the excitement, I get it. But as far as it be producing on the field, it's not going to happen, especially in week 1. I like Hawaii. I think that run and shoot offense will be just fine with the redshirt freshmen. Like Marco touched on, Alejado started against New Mexico last year, had 163 quarterback rating, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 57 pass attempts, completed 37 of those. And the game they let him in prior when they were getting blown out by Utah State, the kid threw 11 passes, completed 10 of them. So obviously he's getting more and more comfortable in this run and shoot offense. I think they're going to be able to throw the ball against Stanford. That was their weakness. They made a few steps of progress on the defense against the run, because their defense has been horrific the last few seasons. They played a little better against the run last year, but against the pass, they were just awful. They're trying to revamp that secondary. It's going to take a while. I just have to see it on the field first. And I just think against a team like Hawaii that's got wide receivers, quarterback, offense with that kind of style, and a solid enough defense, especially in the linebackers and secondary. It's a defensive line that had a lot of turnover. So see how they do up there. But I just think Hawaii at home at a pick'em was too good to pass up. I laid minus 115 on the money line to get that pick'em. It's now minus 130. So at least there's a little CLV there. But like I said, what worries me is looking in the back end right now and already seeing Hawaii money from recreational accounts at -2. And Why aren't we at that key number yet? That always worries me.
Yeah, I would agree with you. VR moneyline was probably the better play there, or maybe Marco's team total over. Either way, I'll be sleeping, and I hope to wake up and cash that ticket. Thank you to VR. Thank you to Marco. Guys, we're going to be back here next Wednesday for week 1 of college football. And don't forget, jump in the comment section. Let us know if you're happy that we're back, if you're mad that we're back, if we're missing something. We are right now going to bring you guys back that recap graphic that you have complained so much that has been missing over the last couple of years. So take a peek at that. Let me know what you guys think. Again, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another episode of Bet On It. And of course, if you guys missed our college football preview, you guys can check it out right here. We break down the Power 4 conferences, as well as a couple of teams that we think have some value to win the national championship. First of all, I'm with my 75-year-old aunt. I don't know what you thought I looked like. I do feel a little jet lag, which is why I just had some coffee at, what time is it here? 5:18 p.m.
How can you be
Dublin
jet
time.
You've been there for like a week. How can you be jet
I know, but okay, so I was trying to explain this earlier, and Brett just was like, okay, you sound like an alcoholic. But when Ariel and I went to Italy, we did the exact same. We flew Delta One over so you could sleep. But Ariel and I's flight was delayed by 4 hours. And so we were just hanging out in Delta One, just living our best life, eating, drinking, whatever. So when I got on the plane, I was out, and then I woke up and we were landing. I missed dinner. I missed breakfast. I was down for the count. So when I woke up in Rome, I was like, okay, let's hit the ground running. When I woke up in Dublin, I got on the plane in Minneapolis. I had a couple of glasses of wine, no big deal. I was like, all right, I should probably eat dinner. And then dinner took forever. And the next thing I know, I'm like, cool, if I go to sleep at this very second, I will get 4.5 hours of sleep. Yeah. And then I tossed and turned the rest of the way. I get to Dublin. It was 2 hours to get through customs.
What?
I've been through a third world country half as fast. I couldn't believe it. So then we get our bags, and then it's a long line for the rental car. And then, oh, by the way, I had to drive to Galway. So, I mean, I was like, we get there at 2, 3 o'clock, and I'm just like a zombie. So then you have to stay awake. And then you hit that weird second wind, that Europe second wind at like 8 p.m., have a couple drinks, and you're out. And next thing you know, you're up till 2 a.m. So I kind of really figured that's not the way to do it next time I come to Europe, which I'm already planning on my next Europe trip, by the way. Me and Ariel are.
Do you feel like the reason why you have a lot of the detractors on social media is because you're so unrelatable? You know, you're talking about like Delta One and Rome and second wind in Europe and you're making fun of third world countries. Do you think it's just
I love third world countries. Those are some of my favorite places on the planet.
You're such an unrelatable person that's why you have these like dweeby guys on X that make shitty comments towards you. Do you feel like that at all?
Like that I'm a hooker and that's how I'm in Ireland right now. Like some guy, I was like, ask me anything, like while I was waiting at the airport for Aunt Helen's flight. And like one of the questions was like, how do you afford all these trips? I'm like, I have a job. I'm not married. I don't have children. Right. Most 40-year-old women with good careers can also afford these trips.
So he thought that the only way that you could
he insinuated, and then some other guy chimed in below.
That sucks. I mean, that's a shitty comment.
Listen, I get it. If OnlyFans was around like 20 years ago, I could have been a multimillionaire if I just sold weird feet pics online or something.
You would not. There's no way you would have had an OnlyFans. Get out.
I know, but that's what's so funny. If I wouldn't have done it then, I'm not going to do it now.
Do you blame those girls that do that? Like if they're like 22, I mean, why wouldn't you?
Okay, so I see two sides. One, I would say that I am a fairly conservative woman in terms of like hypersexuality, where these young girls have been very infiltrated into this. They hate their dad culture, porn, sex sells, all these things like their entire existence. Like I'm the same girl that was in a jersey and boy shorts 15 years ago on Don Best. Like I'm not trying to pretend like I'm some beacon of morality.
You're okay with the sex sells ideal.
Well, yes and no, but I do feel like eventually one day they might change their tune and say, hey, I want to get married. I want to have kids. And like the internet's forever. I mean, I know a couple of girls that have done it and have made pretty good money. And they've all been like, oh, well, nobody has my pictures on the internet. And then I was sitting in your sports book next to my girlfriend Gemma, and she goes, give me one of their names. She types it in, and there's somebody's tits. And I'm like,
You guys were
oh,
looking.
so the internet is forever.
Look, you and Gemma.
Yeah, it was during March Madness.
Oh, damn it, man. That sucks.
Oh, that you weren't sitting next to Gemma?
I got to talk to surveillance. This is terrible news.
Well, I think that is the reality. I mean, like, literally somebody tagged me on something the other day and asked Grok, and Grok was like, she's a homophobic person. Look at all these articles about her. And I'm like, what? Oh, wow, Grok.
Wow.
The
Kelly,
internet lives forever. I mean,
I've known Kelly for a long time. Kelly is not a homophobic person whatsoever. That is BS.
But when you look at what you Google and what comes up, those articles are going to be there forever.
Yeah, that's
just the reality. I think the same thing kind of goes for these young ladies. Like, I'm not mad at them. I get it. You want to make money. It's the same thing as girls that were stripping after high school. I'm not mad at them. But
excited, do you think that they're going to regret it when they're older? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
Well, I'm looking.
Maybe not.
I am listening though.
Maybe when they're crying in their Ferrari at 45, they may have a twinge of regret.
This is good content, though. I feel like,
Oh yeah.
Well, is this more or less interesting than talking about the NFL preseason? I would say.
Oh, it's definitely probably more interesting than NFL preseason. But don't forget, I'm on vacation, and you wanted to do a show just to torture me.
I wanted to do a show. Oh yeah, no, that sounds like our dynamic. I am impressed though that you're. So I'm here in Las Vegas. It's 9:24 in the morning. Kelly is in Ireland where it's 5:24 p.m.
Yes.
And you've taken a break from your travels to do a couple of shows. You're doing Bet on It, I think, for WagerTalk as well. And you've got a meeting too. It's pretty impressive. I mean, I should be working on a Wednesday at 9:30 in the morning. That's exactly what I should be doing. Kelly is on vacation. It's evening time and she's still working. Impressive.
Listen, I got up extra early this morning to go see a couple things that I wanted to see. A little town called Dingle. And we drove around and looked at the sites and hiked a couple places. Then I came back here and I got ready. I mean, listen, anybody who owns a business will tell you, you really don't ever get a vacation, especially if your said profession revolves around certain timetables. I knew when I booked this trip that football season was going to be underway. And I told WagerTalk, I said, hey guys, like, I really want to go to this game. You just got to make it work.
Well, we did have our Super Contest golf tournament on Saturday. Jay Cornegay did an outstanding job as usual. So did Ray and Mindy, who do all the work. I contributed some extremely poor golf shots, but you were missed. We did miss you. But I still think it's impressive. You're working this hard on your vacation as we enter into, is this the last week of preseason NFL? Last week of preseason NFL, week 0. There's a couple of college football games, including the one you're going to. So why don't I think what we need to talk about, I touched on the Super Contest golf tournament. Why don't we talk about contests? Why don't we talk about our Many Losers contest is live on Splash Sports?
Every single one of our contests is now live.
Did we go with Many Losers or the Biggest Loser? And was it a trademark thing?
I did Many Losers based on our group chat. You coined the term at least 5 or 6 years ago. There are many losers on the internet. And then you came up with this Survivor idea, and I just put the two together.
I think there's a lot of losers on Twitter. I would say that there's a lot of people that I would consider losers on Twitter. But I don't think that the people entering into Many Losers are losers. In fact, somebody will be a big winner, right?
Well, hopefully they can actually pick losers, because I think there was I don't know if it got selected as a mailbag question, but I saw on X someone asking me how this was any different. And I'm like, I think it's a lot harder to pick a loser every single week. It's the NFL. Yeah. Eventually, teams maybe stop caring, but correct me if I'm wrong. For the first half of the season, every single team cares. The Saints don't know that they suck until they actually start to really suck. They don't know that they're only going to win maybe 5 games. The Titans may know that they suck and they have a rebuild, but they're still going to try and win football games. And when they do,
Cam Ward is going to be trying to succeed regardless of what the Titans' record is. In the NFL, you don't see the what do you call it? Like the punting, the losing on purpose, the way you do in the NBA, because these players are looking to get a job next season. They're not going to go out there and just intentionally lose. Remember when the Texans beat, I think, Indianapolis on the last play of the year, and it cost them the #1 pick in the draft?
And everybody called them idiots. And the reality was that half of them wouldn't be playing for the Texans next year, so they didn't care.
It was Houston, and it was, I think, Lovie Smith. It was his last game as coach. And guess who didn't care about the Houston Texans draft pick next year? Lovie Smith. He was out either way. What does he care? So I don't know. I don't know if it's harder. That's something we can debate. It's different. It's a different take on Survivor. There's so many Survivor contests out there. I love playing Survivor. You know that. But it's a different way to do it. Maybe it's not harder. Maybe it's the same level of difficulty, but it is different. Can you at least agree on that?
Yeah.
At least tell me I was at the dinner.
Yes. Here's the best part. It's only $100, so I can do 10 of those and, mix it up. Your Survivor contest that I entered with Joff and CT Bets, I am not going to lie. A couple of these nights when I haven't been able to sleep and Aunt Helen went to bed, I was looking at my sheet and I'm going, week 1, are we going to kill each other week 1? And then you've already requested to leave the group chat. And for $5,000, so $5,000, so that's what, $1,633 a person or whatever we each put in to lose week 1. Oh no, I'm concerned. Everybody's going to be on the Broncos. Everybody's going to pick the Broncos for Survivor week 1.
How many people week 1 Survivor are going to pick Philadelphia in the Thursday night game, knowing that they have an opportunity to rebuy on Friday or Saturday if Philadelphia loses? I think that will be. Yeah,
but rebuy for $5,000.
Isn't Denver's a big favorite, right? Denver plays at home against Tennessee. That should be one. I think that you're going to see a lot of people using the Redskins against the Giants. I think that'll be a common.
Pats are a 3-point favorite over the Raiders. That was on my long list.
That would scare me a little bit.
They all scare me.
No, of course. I'd like to. What if I left the group chat every Sunday and then rejoined on Mondays?
We just kick you out on Sunday, like Sunday before kickoff, we kick you out and then we invite you back. We can do that.
Kelly, the painful thing about doing these Survivor contests with Kelly
is
stop. She'll map it out and she'll be like, look, at week 14, we can use the Steelers. I'm like, Kelly, you have no idea what the league is going to look like in week 14. Let's get through the first.
It's not that I know what the league is going to look like, but there are certain spots where I highlight like, hey, we should save this team. Yes, I understand your argument. What's the point of saving your team if you don't get to week 14? Or Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, or Skylar Thompson gets hurt, and now you're playing with Will Howard as a third-string quarterback for the Steelers. You're right. A lot of things happen, but I do think having a plan is better than having no plan.
That is true. And I think it's really good move by you guys to get into our Survivor contest. I talked to there were a lot of sharp guys in town last weekend. Obviously, you know that. And I talked to a lot of them. They all seem to think that our Survivor contest was a great one to be in. The other big Survivor contest in town, which I'm obviously going to have multiple entries in, you've got so many syndicates now buying so many entries and playing so many different nations. It's very difficult for a normal person, a guy like me, to realize.
I didn't realize that was happening.
That's what I hear. So I think maybe our Survivor contest is probably a better play for somebody a little bit, further down the trough. A normal.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that. Listen, CT and I were like, all right, fine, we'll do one Circa Survivor, and then me and my buddy Steven are going to do one too. But Thanksgiving every year, man. Every single year, Thanksgiving just ruins my birthday. Survivor ruins my day. It's one of my favorite holidays. That's my one caveat with that contest is that I was like, oh, I'm not doing it this year. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to do the 1 5K at Westgate. And here we are.
Okay. What about we have obviously Westgate has a 7-pick college football contest that we've been promoting, $500 buy-in. I know you're going to be in that contest.
I have 6 entries. That's going to be fun.
It starts week 1. So you have until August 29th to sign up. Start with those week 1 games on August 30th. But we have a very, very different take on a college football contest that our show is doing for Splash Sports, Survivor college football. You got to pick 2 games a week. Somehow we included the Big 12 over the ACC. There's a lot of controversy about that.
There's no controversy.
There's a lot of people are talking about it, a lot of buzz about that. But it's the big it's Big 12 games, Big 10 games, SEC games. That's correct. And you've got to pick 2 teams to win every week and make it all the way to the end. We're definitely.
Do you have a plan how you are going to execute that?
I have a plan? No, I don't have a plan. I
think it's going to be kind of tough.
Well, I'm going to partner with my boy, Lou D'Onofrio. That's my guy.
Oh.
Lou and I made it to the end last year. We were one of the 10,000 people that made it to the end last year.
I think it was like 300, but okay.
No, we did. We made it. We made it to the end. So we're going to do it again together this year. I'm going to lean on my guy. You know,
right.
I'll trust him. Unless he starts talking about South Carolina. I love Lou, but when he starts talking about South Carolina, I just stop listening. I do that when you start talking about Kansas State. I immediately just.
I am a realist when it comes to Kansas. I think you guys don't realize that. I am a realist about this team. Listen, I didn't come here to lose. I think we're going to see a really good game on Saturday, but I would not be shocked in the slightest to see K-State do something really stupid, like turn the ball over late and lose this game.
How did they end up? This is a serious question I've been meaning to ask you. How did they end up with a conference game in Dublin in week 0? Isn't that? I guess they did that last year. I believe it was.
Yeah, it was last year was ACC, right? Yeah, Florida State and Georgia Tech.
So I guess maybe it's not as strange. It just seems weird to me that they've got a conference matchup. But
well, next year it's TCU, North Carolina. So you're right. It's not normally. Maybe they're changing it up every couple of years. Look, here's the reality. K-State had to give up this home game to go overseas. Obviously, there's a pretty penny probably attached to playing overseas. And I think it gives fan bases, K-State, Iowa State, whomever travels over here, something different. I think more people are apt to be able to get away for August for enough time to come to Europe versus, look, the Holiday Bowl, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, like, you know, like the Music City Bowl, all the same bowl games over and over and over and over and over again. This is something different. It's unique. I think it's fun. I thought Baja Mar for the basketball tournament last year was really fun. I'm glad to see K-State kind of doing these international events because, well, I like to travel and it's a tax write-off, right?
Well, yes, you do. And obviously, you're one of those perma vacationers. You're moving around.
Perma. Yes, because I live in Florida. That's why I moved to Florida, so I could be semi-retired.
Mover and shaker. But I can't. I wish I had something to really talk about on this game. Right now, Kansas State's -3. The total's 49.5. Most of the tickets look like they're on Kansas State.
What's most of 70%?
Not by much. No, not even. You know what? It's not even. It's more like 51%. I mean, there's not really a.
Why did you guys move to 3 from 3.5?
Just going with the market. There's just not really any good talking points on this game from a betting perspective. We're 3 days away. Maybe that will change. We are now booking college football games for week 0 and week 1 at -109 sides, which is something we did last year, something we're going to do all year this year, -109 college football sides of the Westgate. I don't have anything on that game. I really wish.
Wait, let's talk about this. In all reality,
please.
You have a top 25 matchup, but you just don't think it's going to draw the numbers that an SEC top 25 matchup would?
It's not. No, it's not that. The reason why the game last year did such big numbers is because you had a huge favorite. And I know it's hard to think about it now because their season was such a catastrophe. But Florida State last year, they had been
a lot of hype.
They had been kind of left out of the playoff controversially, the last 14 playoff. Remember, they were left out of it, even though they went undefeated 2 years ago. And then they came into this year, and I remember reading all this stuff about how good their defensive line was going to be. No, I don't think anybody thought they were going to win the national championship last year, but there was no indication that I read
that they were going to win 2 games.
Yeah. And
it was bad.
And so many money line parlays and teasers. That game was early on the Saturday. We won a lot of money on that game. It wasn't because it was ACC versus Big 12. It was because you had this big program that was a big favorite. And people were starting off all their parlays and teasers with them, and then they lost. And then people were chasing in game as well, second half as well. So there's no way this game can expect to handle what that game did, just because of the program Florida State and how big of a favorite they were. The money line parlays, we'll never be able to get that.
Okay.
We did see some sharp money on Fresno State +14. We talked about it on last week's show, but they bet Fresno State +14 against Kansas. Kelly hates Kansas. And they bet Hawaii.
I don't hate Kansas.
Yes, you
There's what's the hate about them? There's nothing to hate.
You hate them. Yeah, you talk badly about some of their alums, some people that I know that went there. Like
my mother's an alum.
You have a very good friend, Andy Samuelson. He went to Kansas, and yeah, you've talked. Well, yeah, you don't. Susan did go there. That's fair. Hawaii's the other one. Hawaii.
What do you mean?
Hawaii has been bet from a small dog to a small favorite in the last. I think that's the last game of week 0. UNLV plays Idaho State, so they moved that game to week 0 because it was supposed to be at Allegiant Stadium on September 6th, but now they're doing the Canelo Alvarez Terrence Crawford fight at Allegiant that day. So they moved it up to week 0.
Okay.
Not much there. Week 1, I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week. I will say one team that I've seen money come in on, I think since the last time we spoke, but I could be getting my timeline wrong. I don't think we talked about this last week. A lot of money coming in on Toledo. Yeah, Toledo against Kentucky. I would say that one. And then also Oregon State. Oregon State, that's like I think it might be the latest game on that Saturday, the 30th. Oregon State getting bet up against Cal in the last game of the night. They're now a 3-point favorite. Week 1. Week 1 is going to be awesome. I know yesterday we were in the risk room having a venting session about Texas and Ohio State taking place at 9 a.m. I'm sure like I know that the Big Ten is with all these different networks, right? And then obviously Fox gets to pick first. And of course they're going to take Ohio State, Texas. But why can't they do the big noon kickoff show and then just do the game later? Like College Game Day has been.
I don't know. You're right. College Game Day is in the morning and they just do the game whenever they want.
And then the show ends and then they do the game at 8 Eastern. Why does the kickoff show have to go right into the game? I definitely wish the Big Ten.
I don't know the answer to that. Let me ask around.
I want to know because I wish the Big Ten and Fox would do those games in prime time, or 3:30 Eastern. Give me 3:30 Eastern. I could live with that. But 9 a.m.
Well, here's the reality though. There's Thursday and Friday night games, so you don't think people are going to bet those Thursday night favorites with Friday, with Saturday, with Sunday for week 1? Maybe it doesn't really matter.
They will. It's still going to be big volume, but people are still in bed at 9 a.m. People that come out here to like party for the weekend, they're not down in the sports book. Not all of them. So
it's tough. I'm not going to lie. Because you're coming from the East Coast, it's tough. I used to make fun of people all the time, but it is. You're staying out till 3 a.m., which is 6 a.m. body clock, and then now you got to be at the book for kickoff, get all your bets in. I agree with you. It is tough to do.
I talk about body clock. I feel like you're jet lagged in a place you've been in for 6 days. I mean,
no, it's not jet lagged. It's just like I'm just like, man, why am I so tired at 2 o'clock? And it's like, oh well, because normally I'd be getting up right now.
Let me rip through. There's a UFC event in Shanghai, China, that is going to be, I believe it starts like Friday night our time and then goes into Saturday morning here. We're going to leave the app open through the night. We usually close the app at 11 p.m. Because of this event in China. Our guy, Andrew Babakidis, you know him as Boosts. He's going to be here. I'm going to juice him up with all kinds of energy drinks. He's going to be here booking the fights. I did see a sharp bet on.
Does he get paid time and a half for that, working overnight?
No. See, this is what a smart corporation, a smart businessman like me, what we do is we take one of the kids that's on salary. So he gets nothing. He has no benefits for this. I'm not going to reward him. I'm not going to thank him. It's just a totally thankless thing that he gets nothing from. But that
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, of course. I did see some sharp money on Brian Ortega T-City against Aljamain Sterling. That's an awesome fight. I don't know how they got those two guys to go out to go out there for that. But Brian Ortega is a big dog in that fight. But, we had mentioned a couple dogs last week that did pretty well at UFC 319. T-City against Aljo Sterling. I once played golf with Aljo Sterling. He's a cool guy. Very cool guy. That should be a good fight there. And then I wanted to, before we get into the mailbag, Kelly.
So I had a really good transition about golf from the mailbag, so I was just going to cut you off.
No. Please.
No, go ahead.
No, I want you to.
Okay. All right. Joe knows on X.
No, I said before the mailbag, I want to give you some picks. You asked me
Yeah,
for.
and I said this is a great transition to the mailbag because Joe asked a golf question.
All right, so I'll do the NFL season win picks at the end of the show. Go to the mailbag.
Okay, deal. Joe wants to know if you've ever hit the plane from casino when golfing, like with your golf ball.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I've ever had anybody in my group to actually hit the plane. So there's a plane to the left of the green on 10. To the left of the green, right? Yeah, to the left of the green on 10, and it's also to the left of the tee box on 11. But I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually hit the plane.
Suck that bad that you hit the plane.
It commemorates the FBI agents landing there because they ran out of fuel. Although that actually took place at Las Vegas National. That's where the real guy, I think, or maybe they just filmed that scene at Las Vegas National. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think it's a fake scene.
I
don't think it actually really happened in real life.
No, it did happen in real life. No, you know what? I said that backwards. It did happen at the country club, but they filmed the scene in the movie at Las Vegas National. That's what it was. A lot of casino references in this episode. I can live with that.
Listen,
that's fine.
I just read the questions. Let's see. Next, we've got BJG for Bob on X says, is Jimmy V on Gambler Mount Rushmore? You know, he probably should be. I would argue that.
Is he? I don't know about. He could be on gambling's Mount Rushmore, but he's more.
He's definitely on bookmaker Mount Rushmore. How about that?
He's more of a bookmaker than a gambler, no?
Yeah, that's true. But I think he meant gambling Mount Rushmore. Like, who's on your, like, when I did my behind the bettor at WagerTalk, and they said who's on your like gamblers Mount Rushmore, I said, you know, the traditional kind of answers, and then I added one of my own. But Jimmy, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's probably him, Jay. Who else would you put on your bookmaker Mount Rushmore?
Oh, bookmaker. Oh, I don't know. I thought we were doing gambling where it's like Billy Walters and.
Well, that's what I said. No, we know the gambling one, but who? Give me two more other bookmakers besides Jimmy and Jay that you would put, and then I can tell you mine.
I'm just gonna hurt everybody's feelings. I don't want to do that.
God, you worry so much about feelings.
I know all these people. Come on.
At Golf Guy 91 says, best under the radar, not talked about week 1 college football game. Is it Auburn versus Baylor, Utah versus UCLA? I think Auburn versus Baylor is going to be a really good game. I think there's a lot of hype surrounding Baylor this year, and I'm not quite sure if it's deserved or not, but I think this team can win 8 or 9 games.
I don't even know I mean, I think Auburn Baylor's a good pick, but I feel like Ohio State, deservedly so, that there's not a ton of conversation about LSU Clemson, where you've got like the second favorite or two of the top 3 favorites for the Heisman are the 2 quarterbacks. Both teams have aspirations to make the college football playoff. And that's going to be the Saturday night primetime game because, like we talked about, the Texas game is in the morning. So I think that game is getting skipped over a little bit. So is Notre Dame Miami. Yeah. Notre Dame Miami, they play Sunday in Miami. Notre Dame's got a freshman quarterback. Lloyd Carr's grandson is going to be their quarterback. And it's funny, I've been looking at teams to make the playoffs bets again. And again, I've come to the same conclusion I came to last year at this time. How could Notre Dame not make it? Their schedule, when you look at their schedule.
You've been saying this like the last 5 shows. Did you actually put a hard-earned wager on Notre Dame?
But look at what a Big 12 team has to deal with.
We are going to take this Notre Dame clip from this week, last week, the show before, and the show at the Las Vegas Country Club, because you say it every single week, yet you have not wagered on this team.
I don't think I've ever said it on the show, actually. And I did make a big
one. Oh, my God. We literally have a clip of you saying at the Country Club.
You know I made a big wager on him last season. That's not true at all. And this season hasn't started yet, so I don't have to do it yet. But Notre Dame, like, let me talk for 5 seconds. The Big 12, the SEC, the Big 10, those teams play such hard schedules. Notre Dame doesn't have to deal with that stuff. I don't understand it. I want to go with a long shot, but I do think Notre Dame, again, will make the playoff.
Okay.
They will make the playoff.
And now when they don't make the playoff, Notre Dame fans can get mad at John Murray on TikTok.
You said that last season, and they made it to the national championship game. So, yeah.
All right. This isn't a very good question worded properly, but
Okay.
At
They rarely are. They rarely.
MHKU32 on X says, what are the odds KU wins more games than K-State this year? Well, KU's slated to win 6.5 and K-State's slated to win 8.5. So that's not really how this works.
So Kelly, I make
So
fun
what,
of
KU would be plus 300 to win more games than K-State? Is each game worth $1.50?
I would say less than that, but
Less? Okay. So plus 250?
Kelly, I make fun of Kelly a lot the way she stumbles through these questions, but so many of them are like they have bad grammar and they're misworded that it's kind of hard. Like it's hard to read something that you've never read before if it's all worded incorrectly. You know? Because if you read it exactly as it's typed, you sound like an idiot. But that is what it says.
And that's what it's sent to me. It's literally sent, the tweet is sent to me. And I'm like, what is this person saying?
I don't know.
So John Murray, what are the hypothetical odds that KU wins 9 games and K-State wins 8?
Where is the Kansas K? So that the bet would come down to
the games in KU, at KU.
At KU, or are they still playing at a neutral field?
It's at KU. It's in a half-built stadium.
I don't know enough about Kansas this year. I don't know anything about Kansas.
K-State will be like a 4.5 point favorite at worst.
That's a Kelly question.
That's what I just said. I said plus $3.
Kelly hates
3 to 1. I think 3 to 1's a fair price. I'll book your action. MK
probably
whatever. MHKU32.
No, don't book our customers' action.
This guy's not a customer. This guy's a KU fan trolling the Kelly and Murray. Whatever.
Anyway. I don't feel trolled at all by that guy. I could care less. I don't feel trolled.
All right, John Murray, I don't have my pen and paper, but give me your season win totals you promised us.
No, we definitely had a few come in this week, and we're getting into crunch time on these. I think we all know that. College side, Texas Tech over 8.5. Pro side, Tennessee over 6 is one. I've seen a couple of groups hit the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, the quarterback situation there the last couple of seasons. Will Levis is not an NFL quarterback, right? He can't play in the NFL. He's just not. Not everybody gets to be an NFL quarterback. So now they bring in Cam Ward with the first overall pick. Should be an improvement there. I saw them bet Denver under 9.5, which I get that because that's a tough division. And last year we played Denver over 5.5, and they went over. They made it to the postseason. That's a big year-over-year increase. To see your win total go from 5.5 to 9.5, that's a big jump, and that's a tough division. I understand that play. Vikings under 9.5. I don't really like that one because I just like that coaching staff so much.
Me too.
But I get it because I know that they overachieved so much a year ago. I think they finished 14-3. So I understand.
Why do you think they overachieved? So I think it's because of the same coaching staff.
I do too. I think I like O'Connell and I like Flores a lot. I and that roster's got a lot of players on it. But I'm just saying that's what these groups are betting. And then the last one, I think the one that will speak to our girl, Kelly in Vegas. They bet New England under 8.5. And that's interesting because
Why is that speaking to me? I love Mike Vrabel. I can't even say his name right now.
Mike Vrabel, because we've talked about this. The Patriots have been such a popular play. That's a very, very popular play to be the surprise team this year. They spent a lot of money in free agency. Second year for Drake May. They bring in Mike Vrabel, who had a degree of success in Tennessee. That division Buffalo's very good, but the other two teams in that division are beatable. It makes sense. So it's interesting to see a group that we really respect come in, play the under when there's been so much money to the over.
So don't take them week 1 in Survivor. Got it.
I didn't say that. I'll tell you one thing.
I'm terrified.
One thing I would never do ever, and I won't do it, is get involved in advising your group there on Survivor this season. Talk about a lose-lose situation for me. There's nothing good can come out of that. You guys do what you got to do in the Westgate Survivor contest. I think it's going to be.
I've been way too many contests with other people. I did one of the Westgate college football by myself. I've got 5 with teammates. I don't even know how I'm going to converse with all these people. I don't have enough time to do my own stuff, let alone pick 7 games against the spread with people that I'm friends with and try not to ruin our friendship.
So it would so it would like ruin your friendship if you guys lost in week 1 of Survivor? That'd be it? You guys wouldn't talk anymore?
Listen, I'm not saying it's going to ruin our friendship, but that would suck very, very bad.
Well, that would suck. I mean, at $5,000.
I mean, that's
not
2
peanuts.
units almost.
Wow.
Just flush down the toilet.
That's not peanuts. 5K is not peanuts, but I think it's a good contest to enter where you have a much more realistic chance to win if it's just you by yourself or you and one or two friends. It's much more realistic that you can maybe make it to the end of that one, because I don't think you're up against as much of these
competition
organized syndicate groups, but maybe I'm wrong.
Organized.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. Organized. Can you say organized, or is that an offensive word?
Is it like alleged crime bosses?
Yeah. Whoa. Who said anything about crime?
No. I'm sorry, but when you say organized in that tone, I organized crime. First thing comes to mind. Call the feds.
I want to call the feds. What are you talking? I want to let Kelly get. I want to end the show just before I get in trouble. But I want to let Kelly get back to enjoying her vacation. When are we going to do a show to preview college football week 1? Are we doing it Wednesday?
We're going back to Thursdays. We're doing the show Thursday nights.
Okay.
I believe at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. But that is going to be up to you and our lovely producers.
I'm writing it down right now. KM Pod.
I'm going to make a permanent Google Calendar invite, and you're not allowed to change it.
So I don't even know how to. 2 o'clock at 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern on August 28th.
We'll see you then.
I'll see you then, man.
Welcome, everyone, to the MMA Happy Hour podcast. I am Kyle Anthony, your host for today. We are talking UFC Shanghai, headlined by Mingyang Zhang and Johnny Walker. We're going to be breaking down 4 plays here on the show today. Now, if you want to become a client, link down description. I do have a 5% play up for this weekend. We'll be adding to that pack as we get closer to fight night. Now, with that being said, let's dive into the main event of the evening between Mingyang Zhang and Johnny Walker. Now, you got Zhang sitting at minus 330. On the comeback here, you've got Walker plus 280. Now, you got Walker here, who is an explosive athletic fighter, freak athletic fighter. This guy can come forward. He's going to crash the pocket normally, and he's going to throw big shots. This guy, has aerial attacks, jumping knees, all these great things that he does do. He hunts for that finish. And that's what he has done primarily. Things have definitely changed over the last couple of years, and especially the fact that we do realize that Johnny Walker can't take a punch. Now, this may not be the longest breakdown normally what I do here, but, you look at Johnny Walker. I mean, he is the definition of what a glass cannon is. The guy just simply can't take a punch. I mean, he's on the Mount Rushmore of glass chins next to Luke Rockhold. I mean, he just simply can't take a punch. I mean, the guy has the power. He's got the tools. There's a lot of great things, again, that he can do. He just the absorption of damage is just very limited for him. And even shots that are half blocked, he will struggle to just kind of stay on the feet on half block shots. And then you also got the fact that now he's over at SBG and he's training there. And those guys, are really looking to make him more patient, make him more patient in the pocket, be more technical, be more at range, utilize those tools. And, all that's done, we're being patient, is now he's just patiently waiting to get knocked out. I mean, that's just simply, kind of what it is. And he's the guy that I think really needs to have those wild exchanges. I think he needs to have any success against, Zhang in this spot is he needs to kind of pressure. He needs to have that first round, come forward, guns blazing, have these awkward attacks, awkward movements, and find the opening, because otherwise I think he's in a lot of trouble. Plus the fact that you got Walker here. He's 3-4-1 over his last 8 fights, and he's in a main event. And this is pretty much the UFC saying we're shipping Johnny Walker to China to have him lose. And I do agree with that statement there, where, you got Zhang, this guy is an absolute killer. He's got 100% finish rate, and he's a guy that primarily was heavy grappling early. And I think he still can grapple now, but heavy grappling early, but he's really fallen in love with the power. He has fallen in love with the damage, and he has 19 wins, 13 by knockout, 6 by submission, all coming in the very first round. And that's where I'm going with this play here. I'm going with the trend here. I'm sticking with it. The trend is your friend. And that's where I'm going here with this. I'm going Ming Yang Zhang by knockout in round one. I don't think this is even going to hit the ground. I think if it does, it's Johnny Walker's head bouncing off the canvas here. So I do like Zhang at -110. I feel like is an absolutely great price. He's been knocking guys out left and right. Johnny Walker's prime for it. I'm going Ming Yang Zhang by knockout in the first round. Next one we're going to talk about here is going to be Michel Pereira. He is -295 in the comeback here. We've got Kyle Dawkins. He is plus 220. I said -295, right? For Pereira. But you got Pereira here who is coming off absolutely throwing a fight. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but if you saw that fight against Abus Magomedov, you probably will agree that he threw the fight against Abus. It was a glorified sparring match. It was pretty much him not even attempting to really hurt Abus. He was not explosive early. He almost didn't seem like he cared. It almost seemed like he just wanted to survive the fight, and that's about it. And he did. And it's tough to trust a guy like that now who really didn't do anything in his last fight. But overall, I do like the move for Pereira when he went from 170 to 185. I think the move has been great for him. He's keeping his power, he's keeping his explosiveness and his athleticism. And I think it's kind of worked out well for him, at least early, where the first 3 fights that he had in that division, goes out there, 3 straight first round finishes, looked great, really, again, kept that power. And then he has back-to-back losses, which were very underwhelming. He loses to Fluffy Hernandez, which no harm there. Fluffy could be fighting for a title soon, and he's a nightmare matchup for Pereira because of his cardio issues and because you've got Fluffy, who is just an absolute savage with his cardio. But early in that first round, Pereira did hurt him. There was a spot where, hey, it looked like maybe he could put him away a little bit here, but Fluffy does what Fluffy does. He's got that durability. He's got that cardio and able to find that 5th round finish. And then he has that terrible fight against Abus, which they didn't really do anything. And I do think those last 2 fights are providing some value here on this particular fight, on a method of victory. But you look at Dawkins. Dawkins is a guy on his second stint in the UFC. His first stint wasn't even that great, really. He was 2-4-1 with back-to-back losses before going and being sent to a CFFC organization. And now he's going over there. He has found some victories. He has a nice 4-fight winning streak, but he's beating, grocery store clerks and garbage men that also fight part-time. He's beating guys with records of 6-3, 8-6, 17-9, 8-11. Not that great when you're looking at that overall. And the biggest issue here for Dawkins for me is his durability. I mean, this guy just really can't take a punch. He has terrible striking defense, very hittable in the pocket. And you've got the power that Pereira does possess. I think he lands some very big shots early here and can find a lot of success. Also, I think that Dawkins needs to get takedowns. And if he can't get those takedowns early, which I don't think he's going to get, he is no Fluffy Hernandez. He's very far from Fluffy Hernandez. And it's just not that easy to get Pereira down. Dawkins, 25% takedown success rate. You've got Pereira with a 76% defense rate. I think that holds up here. I think that this is a spot where this is a great bounce back spot, a huge step down here for Pereira fighting Dawkins here. I think he puts a stamp on it. You can get off the -295 number, and you could get this around Pereira inside the distance is +100. I think he absolutely finishes this. I think there's a possibility for in the first or second round, but I do like Pereira in a bounce back spot here, getting the finish at +100. Next fight here we're going to talk about is Loner Kavanaugh. He is -210 on the comeback. We've got Charles Johnson. He is +170. Now, Loner is a rising prospect in the UFC, no doubt. 9-0 record, 2-0 in the UFC. And one of his biggest advantages that he has over a lot of fighters is really going to be his hand speed, his overall speed, I should say, but his hand speed, his footwork, his quick movement. He does back it up with some power. He can mix that in there. So it's not that he's just pitter-pattering shots. He does pack some power. And also he does have some wrestling. He's been able to really utilize that when he needs to utilize that, which, you got Charles Johnson on the other side here, who is a tough UFC vet, and although he has suffered some losses, he's 6-5 in the UFC. So that isn't that great, but he has fought some tough guys really from the beginning. Like as soon as he came to UFC, he was fighting some really tough opponents overall. And now he's on a nice 4-1 run, and he does have good striking, good rangy striking, nice stance switches overall. I think he can mix in the wrestling, mix in the takedowns, and he's just a very tough fighter where he does have that good footwork as well. But you look really at one of the biggest advantages here for Charles Johnson, and I think it's going to be his takedown defense and his wrestling. And I think that is going to be where this is going to be, make or break for him. He's got Lohner, who is, he's undersized. He's just undersized for this division. He's very small. You're going to have, multiple, physical advantages here for Charles Johnson. And I think that he's going to struggle getting these takedowns. I think that Charles might be the stronger, more physical guy. But I also do think that Lohner has needed to now recently. He struggled. I would say struggled, but it was competitive on the feet against Felipe Dos Santos. And then he started looking for takedowns, found success. I don't think he can lean on that here against Charles Johnson. Johnson has very good wrestling. He can wrestle offensively. He can wrestle defensively. He can mix it up a little bit here. And I do think if he needs to, he can look for those takedowns and really put that pressure a little bit more on Lohner. And I do think that a big advantage here also is going to be the output for Charles Johnson. If he keeps us on the feet and this stays at range in the bigger cage, we're not in the apex here. I think that really works well for Charles Johnson, utilizing the striking, utilizing that range, mixing it up, working in his takedowns. And I think this is going to be a tough matchup for him overall. He could look to win positionally or outland him. In this spot here, I'm going dog or pass spot here. I'm going Charles Johnson here. Plus 170 feels like a very good price here. I think it's much closer than this line indicates. So I'm going Charles Johnson plus 170. And the last one here we're going to go over is going to be Rongzhu. He is minus 280 on the comeback here. We've got Austin Hubbard. He is plus 210. Now, Rongzhu is 25 years old with 32 professional fights, which is pretty wild when you're thinking about that overall. This guy is definitely growing up in the cage. He's definitely like, on the job, on the job training. And we've seen him. He recently goes out there winning on road to the UFC. And, we're definitely seeing him put it together a little bit more. He's with CKB. I think he's, definitely rounding out his skill set, elevating and kind of hitting his stride overall. But most recently, we did see him dominate. And I mean dominate against Cody Steele, which was a spot where Rongzhu went out there, outlanded Cody Steele 125 significant strikes to 52 with a knockdown, won the decision. And that was a spot where Cody Steele was a plus 280 favorite, plus 280 underdog, well outperformed his number there, goes out there, gets the victory. Now you've got Hubbard on the other side here. Another guy's second stint in the UFC. First go around, he was 3-4. Right now, on his second stint, he's 1-3. He's about to be punted back to the lower level organizations here, and he's just a journeyman fighter. The guy, very slow plotting footwork, very slow hand speed, slow developing combinations, and he's going to look for the wrestling, look for the grappling, look to cage push, look to grind, and I don't think he finds much success doing any of that. Plus, he has a 31% takedown rate, not very good, and you've got Rongzhu here on the other side, who I think is better everywhere. I think also, obviously, the line is indicating that, but he's going to have the faster hand speed. He's going to have the better footwork. He's going to, I think, have the solid takedown defense that is also going to help him here. He's going to have an 84% takedown defense rate. I think that holds up here, but I do think that you're going to see some grinding from Hubbard. You're going to see him trying to, push up against the fence a little bit. That may kill some clock here a little bit as well, get this fight a little bit further if he does find any top control. But overall, I do like Rongzhu here, and where I'm going with this play is that Austin Hubbard is a tough guy actually to put away. Out of his 9 losses, 6 are by decision. I think there's going to be some scrappy rounds here. I think that really overall Rongzhu will outland him over the 3 rounds. So getting off the minus 280 number, I'm going Rongzhu by points. It's minus 105. I think that's a strong price here. I think it's a likely outcome, and I do think Hubbard makes it to the scorecard. So I'm going Rongzhu by points, minus 105. So there you have it for my plays for UFC Shanghai. If you want to become a client, link down in the description. And we are off next week, but the following week, I absolutely love that card. It's in Paris. There's some great bets I will be placing. We'll be putting those out early before next week comes. So check out that. And with that being said, let's do this again. And let's get
Welcome to WagerTalk TV. Kelly Stewart here with Marco D'Angelo and Teddy Covers of WagerTalk.com. And we're talking about common mistakes sports bettors make. Marco, what is the number one mistake that sports bettors make?
Overreaction to one game.
Okay, you see something, you watch a game, and we all love watching the games and betting on them, but don't believe that what you just saw is gospel. Remember this quote. I use it on Bet On It all the time. No team is as good as their best game, nor are they as bad as their worst game. And too often, you see somebody get blown out on a Monday Night Football game. What are you doing the next week? You're betting the team that won, and you're going against the team that lost. There's no value there. That's my first tip.
Teddy, you have a show called The Opening Line Report on WagerTalk, and you guys talk about what we saw. What did sports bettors learn was also a segment on WagerTalk today. Tell me how much that actually should go into your handicap, or should it not go in there at all?
Well, you certainly want to be aware of teams that are playing better and teams that are playing worse, and in general, I'm looking to ride streaks as opposed to jump in front of them. Not so much in the NFL, though. I mean, the NFL is a different animal, and different sports are different animals in that way, because the NFL is so public, everything that happens gets captured in the attention of the betting populace quickly, whereas in a sport like baseball or basketball, someone play good one game, maybe they'll play good for another month before anyone, the betting markets start to notice. So, literally, you can go for weeks on end before the betting markets adjust. That's not the case when it comes to football and one game a week. So you'll often see people overreact far too much to a single good or two good performances in a row, especially when you see, they won twice in a row, they killed them twice in a row. That third week, maybe not so much.
All right, give me your number one mistake the sports bettors make.
The single biggest mistake sports bettors make is not having enough outs or sports books to bet at. And I see this people all across the country where they have 12 legal sports books in this state, and 8 in this state, and 7 in that state. You need to have an account with each and every one of those books, and that account needs to be funded. I moved to Las Vegas specifically because, guess what? I can bet here, I can bet there, I can bet there, and they all have different numbers. People say, how do I... This is the key to stopping losing bets by a half a point and starting winning bets by a half a point without buying points. This book's got 6, that book's got 6.5. Oh, later in the week, that book's got 7.5. You can find that variance from book to book, and all you got to do over a course of 100 wagers, turn 2 losses into pushes, turn 2 pushes into wins. You'll be stunned at what that does long-term to your bankroll and your winning percentage. And that's what having outs means.
That's funny because when I first moved here, I worked for a little company called Don Best, and you had to pay a lot of money to get that information. Or your option was to go sportsbook to sportsbook to sportsbook.
Sure. And look, the WagerTalk's got a great product, the Odds Logic Live Odds screen. It's fantastic. Get a free 7-day trial right now, oddslogic.com/Teddy, and you'll see what we're talking about. But yeah, I got it in. Yeah, but it's a good product. I have no problem. I like promoting it because it gives you in real time all of these sports books and the current numbers, and you see stuff. Hey, the market's starting to move. I better make this bet right now. Oh, the market's moved this way already. I can wait till later in the week to do this. And this book's got a 6. This book's got a 6.5. This book's got a 7. If I'm laying, I'll find the book and lay with the 6. If I'm taking, I'll take the book with the 7. And you don't have to open up every app. It's all right there in one place. It's a really valuable tool having a live odds screen. Again, oddslogic.com/Teddy. Free 7-day trial.
Kelly, another thing to do, obviously the outs, but also the VIG. Different books offer different VIGs. And right here at the Westgate where we're filming today, they have a lot of times reduced juice. It's a course of a season, you save 2 cents, $2 on every $100 wagered. That's going to add up on course of losses. But here's a homework assignment. We talked about those half points. Next football season, sit down, get a ledger. Every game that you lost by a half a point, write it down and see how many there are at the end of the season and how that would have changed your season if you pushed that half-point loss.
Sure, and we talk about the half points. There are times throughout the course, one common mistake bettors make, they'll only bet at one time. All right, kickoff's coming in an hour, we better make our bets right now. The savvy bettor is going to make bets Sunday night, Monday morning. That's what the WagerTalk NFL Opening Line Report is all about. What are good bets Monday morning to make? Where's the line going to move? So a better bettor, or one of the mistakes that many beginning bettors make, is I'm only betting at this specific time. If you want to do this at a higher level, at a professional level, you have to be ready to fire away from the minute the lines come out, basically until the minute they close.
That goes back to an earlier video about bankroll. And the reason some players don't do what you're saying, the correct thing is they don't have the bankroll to bet a game on Monday and have their money tied up till Saturday or Sunday. They want their money so that they can bet the Monday game, the Tuesday games, the Wednesday games, the Thursday games, and they're going day by day. Again, treat it like a business.
Yeah, listen, we know NFL, you don't want to be betting the closing number, generally, right?
Well, if you're playing contrarian, you do.
Well, this is what Teddy's reading my mind over here. But what I've seen more consistently as of late, here in Vegas, they have house players. Somebody comes over from the casino, wants to bet $500,000 2 hours before kickoff. Sportsbooks are getting called from the casino manager saying you got to take this bet. They lost $1 million on the blackjack table last night. And then things start to really change. So you're right, Teddy. Marco, you said this as well. Most of my bets are in before we start bet on it, the show on Wednesday. So Wednesday, let's call it noon Eastern. But sometimes, and as we've started to see the shift with more people getting involved in the marketplace, that's no longer the case. Can you kind of touch on that just to kind of put a bow tie on the line chopping?
Well, sure. So when you talk about what numbers are available, and Mark, you talked about write down every game that you lost by a half point all year. You'll often consistently see lines move a point, 2 points, even 3 points without an injury, just based on how the money has come in. And of course, those opening numbers that come in are often, this book will hang a 2, that book will hang a 6, and the market will decide which book is right. And usually they tend to come together. So I don't know if that answered that put a bow on it at all, Kelly, but that's the point I was trying to make. Marco will put a bow on it.
I think Marco can, but I do think this, Marco, because there are thresholds where I'm looking, right? Let's use college football. I'm looking for underdogs, outright underdog winners. A team may be 4.5, and I'm just like, I'm not really that interested. I do like them. I do think they have a shot to win, but I'm looking for that touchdown underdog. Come Friday night, come Saturday morning, they may be a 6.5 point underdog. The market loves them, and I say, all right, I said if it hits 6, I'm betting this game, and then I get involved. Where it used to kind of be the other way, where I'd get that 6.5 on a Tuesday, and they'd close 4.5 and then get blown out. It's kind of been a weird shift.
Kelly, another tip for bettors, we talk about getting the different books. We use the phrase square and sharp. There's square and sharp books as well. And here in Vegas, and I'm not going to call out any particular ones.
Why not? Tell them where the square books are, because they want to know when they go on their odds logic screen who's sharp and who's square.
Let me tell you that it's the ones that cater to the locals. Okay, those are what I like to refer
Stations, coast, formerly known as William Hill.
Those are. Remember Bodog back in the day?
Yeah.
Okay, that was a very recreational sports book. If I'm betting an underdog, I was finding my best number there all the time because the average sports bettor, the squares, gravitate to overs and to favorites. You're generally going to find your best numbers at those kind of books. Now, if you're betting underdogs, you're going to have better luck. Or underdogs there. If you're betting favorites, you'll have better luck at the sharp.
I'm going to say this. One of the things I've noticed now that it's become a nationwide thing, I live in the state of Florida now, we only have one sports book. Do you remember who I bet against last year a lot in college football? Mario Cristobal. And you know where I bet every single week?
Yeah.
At the Hard Rock. Because everybody is going to bet on Florida. They're going to bet on Florida State, and they're going to bet on Miami. And I got the best number, whether I was taking Cal, whether I was taking Virginia Tech, any of those teams, I got the best number in the state of Florida. And that doesn't happen all the time. So maybe check out your local. You live in Tennessee. You live in Illinois. You live in some of these other states. And you want to bet against the hometown, home state team. You may get a half point better than you would versus your local.
Yeah, and of course you talked about the different times of the week. When you bet this on Sunday, bet this on Tuesday, bet this the hour before kickoff. It all, people throw out. I've seen some horrible betting advice. People are like, oh well, you can't bet the day of the game.
Why?
Yes, you can. Or you can't. Or all your bets should be in already. It's like I talk about strike price. All right, and this is a key concept for mistakes that bettors make. Is all right. I like this side, but I'm not laying a touchdown. I'm only going to at -6. That's my strike price. And if I don't see a 6, I don't bet it. If I see a 6, boom, there's your bet immediately. Whether that 6 comes on a Sunday, a Tuesday, a Thursday, a Friday, an hour before kickoff, whenever it is. having a strike price in mind is a key component to knowing, yeah, I want to make my bet now. Yeah, let's hold off and wait till later.
All right, Marco, last mistake that you think we need to do on this video. What is a huge mistake that these guys, I mean, I know there's a ton of them, but give me something else that you think bettors make that is a very common mistake.
I just think they make too many parlays. Okay?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Well, because they've made...
What percentage? Okay, so I do one parlay. We're going to use me as an example. I bet a lot of college underdogs, one parlay a week. I pick 3 underdogs to win outright. It has to pay like 35, 40 or better to 1. It's a fun little parlay. It is 0.5% of my bankroll.
And if you win one, you made a profit for the year.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because the legalized sports books, the FanDuels, the DraftKings, they tweet out every time somebody hits a $5 lottery ticket. So everybody thinks that is the way to go. They want to do that. Little money to win big money.
Of course.
Do you know how many parlays they've cashed prior to paying out that one that paid $150,000? Okay? All those add up. You're not going to get rich doing that. It's a grind. What's the cliche? It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
Sure.
There's a reason.
And know this, books make more money off of parlay bets than any other type of wager. There's a reason that they're not promoting straight bets the same way.
There we go. Common mistakes that hopefully you guys will never make again. Thank you to Marco. Thank you to Teddy. And thank you to all of you guys for hanging out with us here on an episode of WagerTalk TV. If you guys want to check out some other videos, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another one.
Welcome into Drew Silly Diamonds for Friday, August 22nd, 2025. I am Drew Martin, breaking down the Major League Baseball slate here, the weekend starter. Let me know in the comments below where you agree, where you disagree. All is welcome. It helps grow the show in the YouTube comments below. Smash that like button if you're liking the content, as we got first game up, 6:40 Eastern time, PNC Park, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for the Pirates, hosting the Rockies. Battle of last place teams here, with Antonio Sensatella on the hill for the Rocks, Braxton Ashcraft going for the Pirates. Minus 195, that's the Pirates as the home favorite, 8.5 being the total. I think the dog is barking here, guys. I mean, what in the world is the Pirates doing laying near $2? I don't know if they should be laying, minus 195 to some beer league softball teams out there. This team's 20 games under themselves. They're just 3-8 their last 11. Whereas the Colorado Rockies, look, they're not making the playoffs by any means. A 37-91 record here. But the fact is, they've won 7 of their last 10 games. They're cashing some tickets recently, and it's kind of that profile in sports betting that I love to bet. When terrible, terrible teams that the market's thrown off, they just become better, a little bit better than that. That is a good way to cash some tickets here at plus prices in MLB in the month of August. So I think they check that box here. And Antonio Sensatella, their starting pitcher, the 30-year-old Venezuelan, not good numbers overall. He actually got knocked around by this Pirates offense earlier this month, but then he went on the IL with a blister issue and came back last time out against the Arizona Diamondbacks, a lot better lineup, and threw a gem. 5 innings, only giving up 4 hits and 0 earned runs. So maybe he can ride that in here. And he's up against Ashcraft for the Pirates, kind of a bullpen guy. He's made 3 starts, but he's averaging just 3 innings in those starts. So we get the hotter lineup with the Rockies. Again, playing better baseball recently. I like him here, guys. Plus 170, risk 100 to win 170. The underdog is barking in PNC Park. It's the Rockies over the Pirates to start us off with hopefully a big plus price winner. That would go a long way to start the weekend. All right, next one up, 7:10 Eastern, heading to the Motor City for the Detroit Tigers, hosting the Kansas City Royals. Burgert on the hill for the Royals. Casey Mize going for the Tigers. Minus 160, that's Detroit is the home favorite, 8.5 being the total. This is the first place and second place teams in the AL Central, and Kansas City comes in 9.5 games back of Detroit. They're playing a lot better baseball. 6-1 their last 7. They got Burgert on the hill, the 25-year-old out of West Virginia, the former Mountaineer. He's a rookie, but he's got good numbers. Sub 2.8 ERA and 10 starts. He's been throwing the ball well. He's up against the former first pick overall out of Auburn and Casey Mize, who has decent numbers overall. It's not like lights out, but But his last time against this Royals lineup, he only lasted 3 innings, giving up 8 hits. He got knocked around in that game. This Royals offense, top 5 lineup in MLB over the last week by weighted runs created plus. And Detroit, they've kind of struggled a little bit recently against righties. So with Bergert pitching well right now, I like the Royals side, guys. So we're going to go with another underdog to start us off on Friday. It is the Royals plus 145. Risk 100 to win 145. That's the Royals over the Tigers. So if we can hit one of these two to start off the Friday slate, that would be great if we hit both of them. Man, this is going to be a good Friday night. Guys, let me know in the comments below where you agree, where you disagree. Any comment is more than welcome. Your picks for this weekend. We got college football starting. We got NFLX, the NFL preseason there in their last week. And we got Major League Baseball going strong into the playoffs. So a good time to be a sports bettor here. Late August, come September. If you're interested in premium picks, check them out. WagerTalk.com, experts page, Drew Martin. Got a special up for NFL, college football. If you buy that at a discount, a special discount there, you get the rest of MLB for free through the World Series. So that's through the Super Bowl, through the National Championship, through the World Series, all 3 sports, discounted price. Drew Martin, experts page, WagerTalk.com. All right, guys, we got, actually the recap for the show. Don't have the Thursday's results because I'm doing this in the 8 o'clock Eastern hour on Thursday. So some of the night games still going on. Wednesday, another profitable day, grinding it out. 2-1 plus 1.04 units. The Yankees did cash as a slight underdog there against the Rays. That brings the record to 205 and 157, 56% winners, plus 43.4 units of profit. So it's been a profitable endeavor here. Drew's Daily Diamond going throughout the summer in baseball. Going to look to keep it going on the diamond and on the gridiron here, guys. So always appreciate you tuning in each and every day on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, at least 6 out of the 7 days of the week. Some of you guys giving me some comments there about not doing one on Monday the last couple weeks, but I did take a day off. Either way, guys, let's look to end it with another winner in the or hopefully another winner. 7:35 Eastern. We're heading to the Sunshine State. Tampa Bay Rays hosting the St. Louis Cardinals. Miles Mikolas on the hill for the Redbirds. We get Adrian Hauser going for the Rays. Minus 130. That's Tampa as the home favorite. Total of 9. Now, we've talked about the Rays a bunch over the last 2 weeks. We've been fading them a lot, especially against the Yankees, which we just talked about in terms of they were on that 4-city West Coast road trip. They came home. I felt like that was still a fade spot. They did score some runs in the second game, and now staying at home off of an off day yesterday, I believe. Either way, I like the Rays to kind of a little bit of buy low here. And at minus 130 with a lot better pitcher on the hill, I like the Rays at home. I mean, it's an interesting scheduling spot in this series. They're going to actually be off on Saturday, and that's why they played on Thursday night. So, no, this is game 2 of the series. So, yeah, I was a little bit mixed up in my notes here. But you got to remember they're playing in the minor league ballpark, so they had to move around the scheduling. The Buccaneers had a preseason game pretty much right across the street. So it's an interesting one where they're playing Friday night. They're not going to play on Saturday, so it might matter for the bullpens, which I do give a slight edge to the Rays. But either way, Hauser on the hill for the Rays. His last time out, 5 innings, 0 earned runs, 6-0 strikeout to walk ratio. He was traded midseason. He's got a 2.6 ERA. He's a guy I'm looking to bet on. And he's up against Miles Mikolas. The 36-year-old's just 6-9 on the season with a 5 ERA. He's 2-7 his last 9 decisions. And he's got home road splits where he's really struggled on the road. Now we're asking him to go into a minor league ballpark here where he's given up 5 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 8 earned runs, and 6 earned runs his last 4 road starts. I think he's going to get hit around here, guys. The Rays have hit righties a lot better than lefties. I think the 30 cents is short. Rays minus 130 to end the Friday card over the Cardinals. In recap, we got the Royals over the Tigers plus price plus 145, and the Rockies, big dog barking, plus 170 over the Pirates. That does it for the Friday show. We'll be back on Saturday. Come back and join us. Until then, cash those tickets. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome to the best show on the planet. This is Wager Talk today. I am your host, Andy Lang. It is Friday, and we are setting you up for the weekend. Ton of NFL preseason coming your way. MLB, we've got a little bit of UFC Shanghai with Andrew Babakidis from the Westgate. He's going to tell us where all the sharp money is going. Gianni's going to join us first to get us started with the Steam Report. Tell us where some money's coming in on all the sports. Teddy Covers is going to break down the Vikings and the Titans, and also give us a little insight into the Red Sox and Yankees. Marco's going to join us. We got Ravens and Commanders tomorrow, and we got Dodgers and Padres coming up. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys. Subscribe to the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Just crossed 212,000 subscribers, so thank you very much. And listen, we got college football and NFL. These videos are coming out at breakneck speed, guys. So subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. That way you get notified when all these individual game breakdowns come out. That way you get the best of the number when these videos come out. All right, let's bring on Gianni. Let's talk Steam Report. Shout out to everyone in the chat. See, Blocked says he's been on fire this week. Awesome.
What a week, Block. What a great week.
All right. Well, Gianni, I'm assuming this is going to be a busy Friday going into the weekend. We got so many sports. Surely they're firing away on a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just today. I mean, for Friday, we have such a big board. Tonight, late night, you got MMA with the UFC going off at midnight Pacific time. You have NFL preseason continuing tonight, Major League Baseball. I mean, it's a good day, and it's going to be a good weekend of action. That's for sure. I think we even got, what's it called tonight? WNBA. Because
yeah, we had WNBA. Well, Gianni, we just had Road to UFC. Like this morning, there was already overnight fights and stuff. So let's try. Let's start with football here. Let's talk a little NFL preseason, a little college football. Any lines of note? Any bigger bets coming in? Public? What's going on here?
Yeah, in the Jets Philadelphia, Jets got steamed immediately on the money line, and you saw a little bit of take back on Philadelphia because it got up to as high as 3, and that's where you saw Philadelphia +3 come in, and it's just one of those key numbers that you're going to get groups that are going to take it, and it didn't sit at 3, and now it's back to 2.5. But definitely sharp money on the New York Jets. But again, there's take back at +3 on Philadelphia. The under also got steamed. I'll share that here. I released a premium to my subscribers. We went under 36.5, I believe, or 36. That's now 34. So a lot of the value's been extracted. I probably wouldn't piggyback it at 34, to be honest with you. What else can I share? Tennessee, I'll give you that one too. Gave that out to subscribers, but that was at -2.5. It's now up to -5. Again, I just think when you're looking at a total of 37 and not only has the favorite flipped, but it's gone through the key number of 3, I just don't think you could piggyback it. At this point, your only choice is dog or pass. Like if you think now that Minnesota at +5, 5.5 offers some value, that's a different story. But I just think Tennessee's a little bit gone right now. The other game that got steam was Chicago at +3, the key number of 3, and over 39, over 40. And finally, Atlanta, Dallas under 36.5. So Jets and under, Chicago and over, Tennessee and the under in Atlanta, Dallas, all attracted sharp money. But pay attention to later line moves, odds logic. That's what I use. They've saved me so much money just being up to the second. Again, if you're taking it seriously, you need up to the second lines. If not, Wager Talks are just fine. They're about 5-minute delay. But for me, I need that because if I see some kind of take back, I got to pay attention to it. So that's pretty much what's going on in football for today as we wait for the regular season.
This line in the total in the Jets Eagles is down to 33 at some place. And I will tell you, I watched the Jets last week because apparently I hate myself and I don't value my time. I have no idea why I was watching a Jets preseason game. Their receivers cannot catch. There's like the quarterback's actually pretty good. Martinez, he's not bad. He was throwing the ball to the right spot. Just everyone was dropping the passes. Philadelphia doesn't seem to care. It's so low at 33, and yet I am certainly not playing the over on those two offenses. So looks like the steam came through pretty big last night. Giants, whoever. Yeah, I think it was the Giants. Whoever was the big steam last night. Anything college football on Saturday? I don't see much big any big movements.
No, I mean we took our positions early. Like I said yesterday, Kansas State, Iowa State, it's sitting at 3. They're letting the bettors decide. It's getting good two-way action. At 3, there's groups that want plus 3.5. There's other ones that would lay the 2.5. That's what's beautiful with the books being able to leave it on 3. This is a good game to book. Being first college football game of the season, more or less, high profile over there in Ireland, and they got a key number of 3 and it's sitting on 3. As a bookmaker, you're happy. Like you're just writing bets on both sides. It doesn't get any better than that. Western Kentucky and Sam Houston. Obviously, Western Kentucky took steam as soon as that line opened. Fresno State in Kansas. We talked about that. Fresno State was one of those summer steam plays. It was above 14. They took the 14.5s out. They took the 14s out. It got down to about 12.5, and that's where you started seeing the Kansas money come in. The total also got steamed under, but there was enough public money over that you're not seeing a significant move. See, that's the key. Are they writing bets on the other side? If they're writing on the other side, then it's going to be hard to just read the market and draw conclusions. But on those matchups where they're not able to write bets on the other side, that's where you're going to see some significant line movements, especially in college football with a lot of those, smaller divisions, those extra board games, as we call them. Finally, Stanford, Hawaii. Everybody likes Hawaii. I think if they get to 3, you'll see the Stanford plus 3 money come in. That is worrisome. Like I said, I had bet Hawaii money line at minus 115. Good bet because it's now probably about minus 140 or so. But it worries me because they're not at 3. And when a couple 3s have popped up on credit shops, they all got taken out. So that kind of worries me that we're all on one island with Hawaii tomorrow.
Yeah, week 0, everybody on the same side. What could possibly go wrong?
Go wrong, yeah. Especially a great team like Hawaii.
Unknown world beater. Yes, Hawaii. Absolutely. Somebody asked about Tanner. Any word on McKee? I do not believe McKee's going to play. He's still dealing with a finger injury. I believe he's still out. So, I don't expect to see him tonight, which is another contributing factor to that low total in that Eagles game. So, let's do WNBA real quick.
Actually, Robert, Stanford opened as the favorite in that game. Yeah, good call. Yep. My man's absolutely right. Hawaii opened as a plus 2.5 dog, so that one flipped.
I see we got a little bit of movement in WNBA. We had a really nice prop winner in WNBA last night, so it still has my attention because there's money to be made in WNBA.
Oh, I love it.
And the books are paying attention to the other sport. WNBA is just sitting there. They're not moving these prop numbers. You see movement on these totals and the spreads. I already see Seattle's taking a bunch. So is the over in that one. Anything else of note?
Yep. No, exactly that. The over in Seattle, I've seen in accounts. I had a lean coming in, waiting to see if there's any confirmation. Because like you, I think there's a ton of value in WNBA because it's actually getting attention now. And because of that, they're writing bets on the other side. 2-3 seasons ago, it was wise guys versus the books, and they're going to move the line significantly based on that action. Nowadays, though, because of all the attention in the WNBA, you actually have recreational bettors betting it, which forces the book to factor in a lot of that biases into those betting lines, which offers even more value than ever before. In fact, a lot of the groups that I'm working with right now, you know what they're asking for? Live accounts. Can you get me live accounts? Accounts that we could bury live. And the sport that they're burying right now is they're betting WNBA, destroying it, and MMA, live MMA. Like they're willing to
absolutely,
take even just nickel accounts. Like if I could get them a credit line of 10 grand with $500 bet, they'll take it. There was a time where if you couldn't get them down a dime, 2 dimes, they didn't want the account. Now they're willing to take it, even if they could only get 500 down, which they got to give me half of. Like I take half of the accounts, so they're willing to put in gold for only $250 because that's how hard it is to get down. But that's how good the advantages are with those lives. So yeah, pay attention to WNBA right now because there's money to be made.
Let's take a look at MLB. Quite a few games today. What are we seeing of note? A lot of big favorites here I'm seeing.
I got 5 sides that already got hit and a couple totals for you. I even went in deep and did a little work to move the trash out of the way and make sure we focus on the gold. The weekend's here, so I got to help you make a little bit of money. 905 New York Mets plus 105. They're good down to even money. 910 Arizona minus 125. 914 New York Yankees, a little chalky at minus 170. 916 Baltimore minus 105. And finally, 921 Cleveland Indians at plus 140. 3 totals as well. 912 under 8 Dodgers San Diego. 915 over 9 Houston Baltimore. And 923 under 8 Athletics Seattle. So we're on the Mets, Arizona, Yankees, Baltimore, Cleveland. Go under Dodgers, over Houston, under Athletics. When the dust settles, those 8 bets should be profitable.
All right. Great work, Gianni. Anything in UFC? I mean, the big thing is this Brian Ortega weight cut. That's added like $2 onto Sterling. I can't believe he's even going to try and fight, but it is the co-main, and Ortega is an absolute dog. So if he could be carried into the ring, he's going to try and fight. So if you're wondering why there was that huge line movement on Sterling, it's because Ortega missed weight. They said he almost had to go to the hospital. Then they're like, oh, the fight's off. No, it's back on at a catch weight. Looked awful. So that's why you see that big line movement in Ortega.
I like the Sterling side. I liked it before, and this just adds to it. Obviously, a lot of the value has been extracted since the line move, but I already thought Sterling was the right side. There's a good matchup for him, two solid grapplers. And I just thought being a 5-round fight, you would see Ortega money come in because, he's able to pull off that win, even if he's down on the cards. And I was hoping the line would drop and I would get Sterling had a little bit of a discount because he just doesn't get love from the betting market or the fans. That just didn't happen because of the weight miss. Otherwise, I like the Sterling side. In the main event, real quickly, listen, this is a showcase fight for Zhang. He's done absolutely nothing wrong. He's looked perfect in the UFC, on the road to the UFC. And now you get a big name in Johnny Walker. But the problem is we just haven't seen enough of Zhang versus high-level opposition to really lay this kind of chalk. You're kind of betting potential over credentials, and not saying Johnny Walker's credentials are the best. But when it comes to strength of schedule, these two aren't even close. So I can't fault anyone for sprinkling a little something on Johnny Walker because not only could he grapple, we haven't seen Zhang grapple, but I think he's also got pop. And at that weight class, you land the big shot, and all of a sudden that's the eraser, the great equalizer. So I lean that side. Pavlovich, I'm a Costa-Cortez fan. I thought he continued to be undervalued in the betting market. I made some money off of him, but I think this matchup just does not bode well for him. Pavlovich just has too big of an advantage in the stand-up, and I don't think Cortez is going to be able to implement any kind of grappling with him. Keep moving down. Steam came in against Lohner, but I think Lohner gets it done. I like Lohner in that fight.
Ooh, I'll go head-to-head with you on this one.
You like Charles Johnson?
Let's revisit this on Monday. I like Charles Johnson. Lohner hasn't fought a guy that has this much movement. Charles Johnson is taller. He's got the reach. Now, if Lohner decides to wrestle, Johnson's in trouble. But Johnson's wrestling has gotten better. Yeah, give me the plus 180, dog. Let's revisit.
Yeah, it's good, dude. The market's on your side. That's for sure. And that's what scared me on Lohner. Why I won't unload because of the respect Johnson's getting. There's some decent fights. I don't know if I'm going to stay up for them. I'm going to try, but just to do some live action. But we'll see.
Can I also tell you a scary thought that I have is I kind of like Weston Wilson at plus 750. He can wrestle. He can't do anything else, but he can kind of wrestle. And if he can take this Yizad down, I think he might be live at plus 750.
I swear to you, I don't hate it at all.
Yeah, you're betting on Weston Wilson, which is terrifying, but at the same time, if he gets us to the ground, that plus 750 is going to be looking mighty
And
tasty.
that first
Love
fight
one.
of the night, pay attention that the line, it got juiced, but that Dr kid, the dog in that first fight,
Yeah, no,
he lost his UFC debut, but don't forget, he was a minus 400 plus favorite. That was a fight 8 out of 10 times the market concluded he should win, and he didn't get the W. And usually guys like that, I want it back in their next fight, especially since he looked really good in the Contender, getting that knockout in the second round. And he just got caught. He got subbed, by Ribeiro. But I just think that betting line tells you a lot of the potential of this kid. And seeing him as a dog, I wasn't surprised he got steamed. Because remember, Ribeiro had at least had the UFC experience, won the Contender Series, won on that, had lost his debuts, but I think he caught him after he beat Kyle Machado.
Well, and also don't forget, he got submitted, but he was on top. He took Ribeiro down. Ribeiro got a Komodo.
Yeah,
it was very fluky. It was very fluky. So, all right, Johnny, we had a super busy weekend. What do you have up for everybody on this Friday?
Oh, yeah, we're firing away. College football week 0 is in the books. That's already up and ready to go. I'll have the package for tonight in the NFL. That's all ready to go. Saturday one will be up later on today. I have the UFC Shanghai package already up with multiple bets in it. Of course, our season win totals are out with division winners, Super Bowl winners, a lot of futures. I said I'm tying up 25% of my capital in these NFL and college football futures this year because of the groups that I'm working with. I have real high conviction on those. And perfect time to jump on board. Head on over to WagerTalk.com and running hot right now as well. So good time to be on the team.
All right, Gianni, thank you so much for getting us ready for the weekend. Hit that like button, guys, and Gianni, have a great weekend.
Thanks.
Let's bring on Teddy Covers. We're going to talk NFL preseason. We're going to talk MLB. Teddy, I have a quick little impromptu subject. I don't know what my opinion is. I don't even know what my thoughts are. You're great at this, but breaking news: Malik Beasley no longer target of gambling probe. We all jumped to that conclusion. There were videos around. Here's Malik, throwing it in on this play or trying to cover the spread on this play, and I'm just reading. He is absolutely uncharged and not the target of this investigation. It says an allegation with no charge, indictment, or conviction should never have had the catastrophic consequence this has caused Malik. What's your thoughts on this? I mean, we kind of did the guilty until proven innocent thing.
It cost him a $42 million contract for Detroit, and Detroit has moved on and signed someone instead of Malik Beasley. Personally, I would say it's probably lawsuit worthy for Beasley and his compatriots. But a gambling allegation is clearly enough to derail somebody's career. We've just seen it happen. And we've seen other guys where the allegations have proved to have some substance behind it, namely Jonte Porter as a prime example for the NBA. But there is a presumption of innocence in the legal system, even if there isn't in the public eye. And Beasley deserves an apology and may deserve to file a lawsuit.
I will be the first to say, Malik, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I did the same thing everyone else did. I jumped to the conclusion, if he's being investigated, that means they got him. I feel bad.
It's definitely worth noting what investigators consider to be abnormal betting patterns, because I don't know what they're considering. You don't know what they're considering. That's not public info. Certainly when you see the micro markets, and obviously it's the micro markets that have the biggest issues. You see that in baseball, obviously now with the Cleveland Guardians losing a pair of relief pitchers due to the micro markets. And as a guy who doesn't bet those markets regularly, I wouldn't be sorry to see him gone. If it's all, it's all right. What's the next pitch going to be? How do you handicap that? Where's your edge on that? When you talk about a guy coming off the bench over under 2.5 points, the Jonte Porter numbers, I don't mind if all that goes away. All right. I don't care if it goes away. I like sides, totals, halves. That's my bread and butter. So to see the stuff that can more easily be manipulated get regulated higher or perhaps disappear, the only reason the sportsbooks like it because they're making a fortune off it. As better, I think it's very hard to beat. So the answer is take it all with a grain of salt. Like with all information in the modern era, we got to take it all with a grain of salt.
I love the micro markets, Daddy. You know me. Give me those obscure bench players. I love them.
Sure.
Well, let's jump into NFL preseason. We're coming up on week 3. We're going to break down this Vikings and Titans, but wanted to ask you any trends or anything that you've used from the first couple weeks that we're now going to use for week 3, or is this just a completely separate week on its own?
Completely separate week on its own. Week 3 is, I could care less what happened week 1, week 2. Week 3, you're going to find a lot of backups versus backups. Certainly in the second half, when many of these point spreads are decided, you're going to find all the guys fighting for roster spots. The players 48 through 70. I don't really pepper the board week 3. I'm happy if I find 1 or 2 good bets this week, and I haven't found one yet. Haven't played one yet, but I expect we will before all is said and done. That being said, didn't play anything tonight. Not for the clients. Have slight opinions, but nothing that I got involved with the wager yet. But week 3, expect randomness. There's the stakes are the highest for all the guys trying to make the rosters. The stakes are huge, and they tend to get ample playing time. Certainly, by the second quarter, anyone you've heard of, anyone who starts, anyone who's second stringer, not likely to be involved in many of these games.
All right, well, let's go to the Vikings. Let's go to the Titans. Titans big favorites. Well, big favorites, -4.5. But I'm assuming we're expecting a lot of Cam Ward in this one. This is why we get the -4.5 over under sitting at 37. How do you break this game down?
Sure. We talk about Minnesota and Tennessee, and the markets have made this line's moved a touchdown off the open. All Titans money. Minnesota actually opened the favorite in this ball game, and it's been Tennessee money, Tennessee money, Tennessee money ever since. Which you can understand why the markets aren't excited about Minnesota. I mean, the Viking starters are sitting in this ballgame. The backups are largely sitting. We're going to see a lot of Max Brosmer at QB, although Brosmer's had a good preseason so far. Sam Howell has not. Sam Howell, actually, who's going to be starting at QB, I believe, tonight, then Rippin, then Max Brosmer. Howell's had a rough preseason. Rippin's playing for a roster spot. So there's urgency for Minnesota at the QB position. And, boy, this team stunk it up last week. I mean, really, both sides of the football in a sense. They had 10 penalties. They had -2 in turnovers. They went 0 for 4 in the red zone. They allowed 12 of 20 on third down. The Flores defense didn't give up any big plays, but they couldn't get off the field on third down. And, of course, last week that was without all their starters. Most of their backups were not in the ballgame, and they ended up losing the game by more than 1 score. So Minnesota, from a, we're interested in winning the game standpoint, isn't really there. But from a, do we expect some of the stuff that was messy last week to be cleaned up this week? Probably. Before I talk about Tennessee, simple favor. If you guys like this type of analysis, hit that like button. Thank you. Comment below. Tell us what you think. And don't be shy about following WagerTalk, as Andy Lang just mentioned. More than 212,000 of you are now following us on YouTube. That's a huge number, and it goes up every day. So you get instant alerts every time these videos go live. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. We talk about Tennessee, and obviously you expect to see a fair bit of Cam Ward tonight. And by a fair bit, I mean like maybe a couple of series. Really. I mean, he's played 5 series in the first 2 games of the preseason. He's Brian Callahan. Planned to only have him play 2 series last week, but the offense didn't move, so he went back out there a 3rd series. And the offense didn't really move that well either. In addition, all right, Tennessee, it looks like most of the starting offensive line isn't going to go this evening. So it's going to be the starting QB behind backups at center. Kevin Zeitler's not going to play. Lloyd Cushenberry's not going to play. The receivers, Calvin Ridley isn't going to play. We're going to see lots of playing time from the rookie receivers. Ayanamor and DK to get extended playing time here. You have Brandon Allen at QB, and they just signed Trevor Siemian last week. Siemian led 1 field goal drive. Allen was pretty good. Not sure how much those two, what the playing ratio is for those 2 this evening. But Brian Flores' defense is a tough nut to crack, even with all those issues last week. Well, they scored 20 against them, Vikings 2-0 to the under this preseason, 1-1 straight up. Tennessee also 1-1 straight up, 2-0 to the over. But we're talking about, again, a full touchdown line move here. I'm not willing to ask Tennessee to win games by margin this game, even an under. At this price right now, with Tennessee laying 4.5, even 5s out there, I can only take Minnesota plus, and I can only look at the under. But I think Minnesota plus is probably the stronger of the two. Give me the Vikings, and let's ask Tennessee not to blow them out.
Come on, Tennessee, do your part here. Don't blow them out. Take it easy on them in the second half. Teddy, let's move to MLB. Talk Red Sox and the Yankees. We got Fried for Yankees, who has not been great recently. I'm pretty surprised at this minus 185 number. Sox get the win last night. They kind of poured it on a little bit late. I don't know. I can't say I agree with the Yankees being a minus 185 when Fried has been so vulnerable. What's your take on this game?
I'm with you 100%, Andy. And vulnerable is not. We need to start talking about how
it lightly.
All right. I mean, realistically, I mean, it's not just a week or a month. I mean, they're 16-17 since the weekend before the All-Star break. You can go back further than that. They're a 500 level team. And that's after going 7-1 in 8 games before facing Boston. And who'd they play? Minnesota stinks. St. Louis isn't playing good ball. Tampa's not playing good ball. That little winning streak may be something of a fraud. And last night, what did we see? Obviously, a ton of mistakes from the Yankees. They made 4 errors. They couldn't get a timely hit. It was a tight game into the 9th, and then Roman Anthony hit a bomb. I don't know if you've seen the replay. When you're watching the games on TV with the sound down, like it was with this game last night, I had the sound off. And for the fly balls, you track how fast the outfielders are moving. If the outfielders are running, all right, this ball's got a chance. Not so much. If the outfielders are kind of walking, then you're like, all right, that's a fly ball. Well, Anthony hit the bomb, and he just stood there at home plate and admired it. I'm like, see ya. Flew out of the ballpark. And, of course, it turned a tight game into a comfortable Boston victory in the 9th. Red Sox are now 6-1 against the Yankees this season. They lost the first matchup, now 6 straight W's. And they're beating the Yankees all kinds of ways. 2 of the 6 wins, Boston been held to 2 runs or less. 2 of the 6 wins, the Yankees got to 7, but Boston scored double digits in those games. So is this a fraud, a mirage in the Red Sox dominance against the Yankees? I don't think so. I think Boston's better than the Yankees right now. The standings say so, too, for what it's worth. And Boston, unlike the Yankees, played winning baseball since the All-Star break. Bello's showing signs of fatigue. That is a concern. He's not notched more than 5 strikeouts only once in his last 9 starts. He gave up a couple of dingers against Miami last night. He was pulled last time out, I should say, pulled after only 78 pitches. He did throw more than 100 pitches in each of his previous 2 starts. And he did throw 7 innings of 3-hit shutout ball in his only start against the Yankees so far this season. That said, last year, 3 starts against the Yankees, none of them were quality, couldn't eat innings, and he was hit hard in 2 of the 3. We talked about Max Fried and his struggles. Since July 1st, 0 quality starts. He's given up 4, 3, 4, 6, 4, 4, 4, 7 in his last 8 starts. That's 36 runs allowed in 44 innings of work. That's not ace level. Aaron Boone, after he got lit up by St. Louis can't hit. And they beat up Fried last time out. Quote, I do feel like it's something hopefully can click because he's probably been searching for a little bit out there and fighting himself a little bit. That's not a bet on quote. So last night's game got to 9 runs. They cashed over bets by the hook. Total was 8.5 just about everywhere. Despite the fact that the 2 teams went 5 of 26 with runners in scoring position and left 24 runners on base. No cashed overs. So we have 2 starters I don't really trust necessarily tonight. Both teams used up their bullpens last night. Neither team hit particularly well in clutch spots last night with the 24 runners left on base. We have perfect baseball weather, temps in the 70s, light wind blowing out. This is a client play for me. We're on the over 8.5. Yankees, Red Sox, Friday night baseball.
Yeah, the 4 errors last night was just man, they're just hemorrhaging runs. Oh, that's got to be frustrating for the starting pitcher to watch your guys just waffle ground balls and such. So I'm with you, Teddy. I like the runs in that one. I love that breakdown here. What do you have for everybody this weekend? We got college football. You mentioned nothing yet preseason. That's a really good point. We don't have to play NFL preseason just because there's games. So what do you have up for everyone this weekend?
Yeah, NFL preseason is all about information. So as soon as I get off air here, we're going to start digging into tomorrow's game, see what we find in terms of the latest info. We didn't put out anything earlier in the week this week because week 3, you really got to know what the coaches are saying. We're involved in MLB for tonight. I have not posted anything for week 0. There's only 4 games in week 0 college football on the short side. The right sides all got hit, not getting the best of the numbers. So we'll see if a line moves enough in the next 24 hours to get involved. But I do expect to be posting NFL week 1. I expect to be posting college football week 1. We'll have baseball every day. Part 2 of the NFL season win report comes out on next Wednesday, noon Pacific time. So you haven't gotten on board with part 1, not too late to do so. The lines are all still available, or close to what, at least close to what I gave them out as. So NFL, college football, MLB, and lots of research, lots of computer time this weekend, my friend. That's what we do at this time of the year. So that's what's going on my page, wt.buzz/TC. And we do have one great offer. If you guys want to partner up, because this is a partner up offer. This is through every play, every day through December 31st, 2025. You get all the baseball, all the NBA, all the college hoops, all the college football, all the NFL, all the 5%, no bait and switch, no nonsense. Everything included. Every play, every day, $777. I think it's a ridiculous deal. It's like half price. Get on board. WT.buzz/TC. Let's partner up and make some money over the last 4+ months of this 2025 year.
Teddy covers. Have a great weekend. Can't wait to that's almost NFL season. We get to talk with Teddy every Friday about NFL.
We got NFL games tonight. It's NFL season.
I know,
now.
but it's regular season slaps a little different. You know that. You know that when the games really, really count. So thank you, Teddy. Have a great weekend. Say hi to the fam for us. So all right, Teddy covers, everybody. Great breakdowns here. We're gonna bring on Marco in just a second. Justin asked, why are we watching the games without the sound? This is a very powerful thing to do if you're handicapping. When I do my UFC research, the sound is always off. I don't want the announcers to mess with what my eyes are telling me. A lot of times the announcers can really, really cloud your judgment. So you want an honest, representation of what the game is really like, turn the sound off. It's completely different. Let's bring on Marco. I would ask Marco this. Marco, do you ever watch games with the sound off? It's a completely different experience. I kind of like it sometimes.
It is, and especially if you're watching a game from a local broadcast, you're going to get tainted where, the hometown rose-colored glasses, everything's always the best that way. So you don't want to hear all of that. So yes, that is a good way to handicap being non-biased, no back noise influencers.
Well, and also the announcers, a lot of times, they're not very good at betting. So it happens in UFC all the time where the announcers are like, well, this person's clearly winning the fight. And I'm like, are you sure about that? Marco, we're going to talk MLB, but first I want to get to NFL because NFL is king. You've got the Ravens and the Commanders. This game is tomorrow, and I believe we've got enough information to make a pretty good educated guess about this one. How do you break down Ravens and Commanders? We've got Ravens -2.5, over under 35. What's your take on this game?
Well, we've got a unique situation here. Again, we've changed everything the last couple of years because of going from 4 preseason games to 3 preseason games, how different coaches attack their different games. Well, game 2 last week for Washington was their so-called dress rehearsal. The starters got to play. Daniels got in there, and he actually, ran for a touchdown and, dove for it. They didn't like seeing that. But that game was on Monday. Why are you making a team play a preseason game on Monday and then turn around and play on a short week on Saturday? So the fact that that's why week 2 was their dress rehearsal, so to speak, because you're not going to see anybody of any meaning for Washington in this game. There's going to be players, there's still meaning, and that's one thing sometimes people forget. And when we get to these second halves of these games in the final week, there are guys that are literally fighting for their lives, their careers, their livelihood, trying to make a roster. And it's not only trying to make the roster maybe for the main roster, but there's still money to be made if you make the practice squad and then get your chance maybe because of an injury to get moved over. So what I'm going to look at in this particular ball game is look at the first half. And I think first half, Baltimore has a tremendous edge. We know that Coach Harbaugh has a winning tradition in preseason. Now, the last 2 years, he tapered off. But prior to that, he had won 24 straight preseason games. He's back to his old ways this year. He won his first 2 preseason games. I think because of the schedule and what they did last week and who you're going to see in this game in the beginning of the game, I think there's a tremendous edge to Baltimore. And I just think the coaching and the routines and the general concepts that he has, the winning attitude he has at Baltimore, I'm looking for Baltimore first half. Now, this game is tomorrow, and because preseason, they don't post the first half lines right away, so that'll either be out later today or tonight. Anything minus on a money line of 150 or less on Baltimore, I think presents value with the Ravens in the first half. The quarterback rotation favors Baltimore in this game as well. So we're just going to go Baltimore and just, don't overthink it with Washington. They don't care about this game, plain and simple.
Love it. Doesn't get much easier than a breakdown. Team doesn't care. Team does care. Take team that cares. Pretty easy. Let's go to an MLB game where both teams are going to care. Dodgers and Padres here. All of a sudden, this Padres team is only 1 game back in the division. To me, it's just interesting how bad the Dodgers have been on the road compared to at home. You've got Snell going for the Dodgers. You got Darvish going for Padres. I'm interested in your breakdown of this game, and then after that, we got a horse question for you after this one. So, break down Dodgers and Padres for us.
Well, these two just played last weekend, and what I really found funny about last weekend is Dodgers. The sky was falling. They just got swept by the Angels for the second time this season, the series before. So all of the Padre backers, they're salivating. They got their shot. They finally had the lead in the West, and the Dodgers are in total free fall. And then what happens? What always happens? The Dodgers beat the Padres. Not only did they win the series, they swept the series from them. So now this turns into basically, a must-win series for the Padres. They got them at home. They're in striking distance. If they lose this series, Dodgers open up some ground again. Do the Padres get it done this weekend? Maybe, but I'm going to look at tonight, and I'm going to look at the first 5 innings. We've got a pitching matchup tonight with Snell and Darvish. Both guys are coming off gems in their last game, but I trust Snell more. Snell, since he returned from injury, he's had 2 starts. First start, he went 5 innings, 3 runs. Just like I always love making comparisons to starting pitchers like racehorses. They come in and out of form, and generally speaking, the horse's second start back off of a layoff is going to be the better start. Third start's going to be even better. Well, what did Snell do? He pitched 5 scoreless innings in his second start back. The other key number that tells me Snell is, dealing it right now, 18 strikeouts, only 3 walks in those 10 innings of work. So he's just going to get stronger. Darvish has been in and out all year. He's had some injury problems as well. I don't trust the Dodger bullpen. That's obvious. So why, risk the Dodger bullpen and maybe the Padres rally late? I think Snell outpitches Darvish, and I'm going to go ahead and take the Dodgers, first 5 innings in this one. I'll lay the half a run, if you want to bring the price down on it. I like it either way, but I'm going to go ahead, officially take the Dodgers first 5. Go ahead and lay the half a run, first 5.
All right, let's get to a question. Good friend Fortunat has wondering about the horse Nyquist, wanting to know if you're a big a fan as he is. Do you know that horse?
I do know that horse. I don't have so many horses that I look at, so I don't have the recent and where he's racing at next. But yes, he is a good horse. Good horse to have, to follow. But again, you got to handicap each race at the distance, at the competition at the post position draw? Is there other speed in the race? Is it a race that's going to set up for closers? All of those factors, just like any sporting event, you've got to break down all of the factors that involve in there. And then again, the odds, are you getting value on horses? The horse over bet in that particular race. Is there value in playing it? Which way you want to go? Do you want to go with a win bet, or do you want to go with the exotics, or use a horse as a key in a pick 3 or a pick 4? A lot of I know that's not the answer he wanted, but yes, do I like the horse? Yes, but don't just fall in love with the horse and bet him every time.
I love it. Marco. Nice run last 9 days. Looks like 17-7 run. And we're running a really good special right now. You can buy September and you get the rest of August for free. It's instant access to every play. You could use it on, someone like Marco who's running really hot. So Marco, tell us what you have up for this weekend. Tell us about this nice little run. Has it been a particular sport? A little bit of everything. What's been your success?
It's been a little bit of everything right now. We've been hot on WNBA all summer long. Baseball had a very good first half. We had a little bit of a month there that wasn't, my best, and now we're back clicking again. So looking to finish out the baseball season strong. Had a big winner last night. Easy winner with the Astros, a 4% play. We're coming back with another 4% tonight. I've got my National League game of the week. You can pick that play up by itself for $25, but why would you want to do that? You can pick up the rest of August for free if you sign up for September now. In September, you're going to get all the football. You're going to get all our WNBA. You got college and pro football. It's the best time of the year. We love football. Last year, we were number 2 at WagerTalk in football, college and pro combined. Money won. And we're ready to do it again this year. So by September now, you're going to want to be getting those football plays. And guys, it includes all of the 5% plays. My 5% plays 31 and 13, the last 44. Every time we have a 5% play, those sell by themselves for $35. You're picking up all of September for $2.99, and you're going to pick up the rest of August free. That's a great deal going right now at WagerTalk. And I just want to throw something out, let people know on Monday at WagerTalk, we've got a special deal going for the site-wide. It's going to be our 11th anniversary. Hard to believe, already 11 years, WagerTalk. We celebrate our birthday next Monday, and all picks will be $11 that one day only on Monday. So check it out. Make sure you come back Monday for that special.
All right, Marco. Justin in the chat has jokes. Do you guys know where horses go when they get hurt? The hospital.
The hospital. Oh my God. Okay. That's well a good bad dad joke. Yeah.
Well done to Justin and his niece. Well done. That got me. It got me. Marco, D'Angelo, everyone, have a great weekend, Marco. And just great stuff from Marco. You get a little horse racing information, get the MLB, get NFL. So take advantage of these specials that we're running. And he's absolutely right. You can run that special on any handicapper. You buy September, you get the rest of August. It's less than $7 a day. Lock it in ASAP. That way you're getting plays for this weekend, guys. My best bet today, we're coming off a great day yesterday. Swept golf 2-0, 1-0 in WNBA. Best bet that is on the board, in my opinion, is an MLB team total. I have that up. We also have a cricket play, and we've got a UFC best bet. But this MLB team total, I absolutely love. We're hitting over 60% on our totals in 2025. We do not fire off a lot of them officially for clients, but when we do, these things are hitting at over 60%. So MLB team total is up, wt.buzz/AL, or get yourself a 3-day pass. That way you get our cricket, you get our golf, you get our soccer, you get everything. Running really, really hot this week, so looking for a big, big weekend. All right, let's do all around the world. Then we're going to bring in Andrew Babakitis and talk UFC Shanghai. Yeah, to strategist, of course we got team totals. So I went 2-0 on the team totals in NFL yesterday. Tread lightly on these because trying to go 4-0 is pretty tough. So if you followed the ones yesterday, maybe just take those profits and run. But let's go to the Bears over 19.5. Caleb Williams is going to get a couple possessions. Bajent was really good last week. This is a guy that's a good preseason quarterback. 196 yards and a touchdown. Chiefs have given up 20 to the Cardinals, 33 to the Seahawks. I like the Bears to have a nice offensive night. The Jets over 16.5. Apparently, I hate money if I'm betting on the Jets and over, but this Eagles defense gave up 22 and 27 against the Browns and the Bengals. Martinez, I mentioned this earlier, he was better than the numbers suggest for the Jets. A lot of great throws, drop passes. There's going to be an emphasis on keeping it clean on offense, and the Jets were just flat out embarrassed last week against the Giants. So I look for their backups to play with a little bit of hunger, fighting for some roster spots against an Eagles team that has not shown any type of motivation in the preseason. And then we'll go to MLB Cardinals in the Rays. I love this one. This one is on the WagerTalk free picks page. Going with the Rays money line, Hauser, great start last time out. This season, 2.67 ERA, 14 starts. Mikolas for the Cardinals is struggling. He's 6-9 this season, 4.99 ERA. On the road, 6.47 ERA. But here's the big thing. 3 starts for Mikolas against the Rays. He's 0-3 with a 6.0 ERA. You're getting a good price here on the Rays on the money line. So those are your team totals and MLB free play for all around the world. All right, let's bring in Andrew Babikitis. We'll talk UFC Shanghai, find out where all the sharp money is going on this card that starts at the dead of night here, Andrew. So you got this weird, I mean, yes, this is the showcase for Zhang. They're giving, he knocks everybody out in the first round, and they're giving him like the chinniest guy in the division in front of his hometown. Like, this could not be a more obvious setup fight, but I'm wondering, are you taking money on Johnny Walker? Because this would be the ultimate contrarian play. Do you have contrarian bettors coming in?
Yeah, I mean, actually our sharpest UFC bettor did come in and played Johnny Walker yesterday at plus 290. So we're sitting a little bit lower on the market on Min Yang, just trying to write some money back. We know that with the parlay liability, he's still sitting over $3. So it's not like we're trying to give the price away, because we know there's going to be obviously a ton of parlay liability. But yeah, it's kind of promising to know that there's some sharp action on a couple of the dogs this week, and yeah, the main event.
I always give you a violence parlay, some fights not to go the distance. So, I mean, we got to start with that one. Minus 3,000 I'm looking at. So we'll have a little fun with that one. We'll also have some fun with Yiza and Weston Wilson. Weston Wilson can absolutely submit Yiza on the ground. If not, he's a sitting duck, and he will get knocked into next week. I don't see any way that fight goes the distance. But then here's an interesting one. Give me this Michelle Pereira-Kyle Dawkins fight. Michelle Pereira looked horrible last time out, and his takedown defense is bad. If Dawkins wants to grapple, I think he could. If Michelle Pereira is asleep, Dawkins can get this on the ground, and he can submit him. But if Dawkins is back to his old ways where he's plodding forward and walking into punches, Pereira is going to knock him out. I think this minus 170 is an interesting one to parlay. What's your take on this Pereira and Dawkins fight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're giving Dawkins a second chance in the UFC. I mean, if Pereira comes out sleepwalking, like you said, Dawkins might have a pulse. And, you know, on this kind of card, we're going to need a couple of the dogs. So I'm hoping Dawkins can make this one competitive. Maybe, you know, get a couple takedowns, start to gas him out, wear on the gas tank, and maybe get a later finish. But yeah, that's one of the dogs will certainly would be useful for a winning day here.
What are some other dogs? We mentioned Johnny Walker. You mentioned Kyle Dawkins. What are some other dogs you're needing?
We got hit on Nurgoze.
Nurgoze, yeah.
That was a early sharp play. I mean, that's one of the closer to pick'em fights on the card, but we got hit at plus 130 there. So, you know, we've done our best to, you know, make that a winning side for us. A favorite that we got hit on early was Sergey Pavlovich. We got hit on him at minus 200 and minus 220 by one of our more respected bettors. So you can see that's kind of been one-way action, the way that line has moved this week. So I know that's a favorite, but that's still a short play.
All right, so the strategist keeps asking this all week. Question for Babakitas. Anything sharp on the big 3 all-star game and finals? Do you even have lines on that, Andrew?
I don't know. Let me see if we got any big 3 action. I don't think we're booking the big 3.
I would be stunned if you did. I will just say that. You guys have a lot, but even you guys have a limit as to what you'll.
Oh, we are
you'll
booking
take.
it, but we're just doing.
Are you really?
We're booking the championship game. Yeah. Jeff Sherman's kind of a sicko, and he likes to get these markets up, but looking at the action, it's very limited.
You don't say. All right. Well, tell everyone about us with the contest that you guys are running and coming up, because this UFC Shanghai fight, it's a pretty decent card, but we know football's king. So tell everyone about your contest.
Absolutely. So yeah, we have the college contest going on. The signups have been really, really strong for that so far. It's the first year we're running a college football contest. So yeah, if you're interested in changing it up and getting involved in some college football, yeah, this is the only book offering that right now. So come here before it starts. It's going to just keep picking up. The signups per day has been going up and up. With this UFC Shanghai card, I hope you guys are betting it, because I'll be back working overnight tonight to keep the book open and take action on these fights. So if you're trying to bet in Vegas, at least do it with us. Do me a favor. But as always, thanks for having me on. Love talking fights with you. I know we missed out last week. It was a great card, but always thankful for you guys.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you. Get the coffee ready, man. Grab a nap before tonight. Andrew Babakitas doing the Lord's work, working overnight for UFC Shanghai. Andrew Babakitas. Thanks so much for joining us. So, all right, that's going to do it for us. Great week of shows, great week of segments, great week of picks. Let's close it out strong here with some winners. My best bet today is an MLB team total. Go grab that thing. We're having a fantastic week. We swept the card for clients yesterday, 3-0. Looking at a really, really strong weekend, and we do have one UFC best bet that is up. That's up at wt.buzz/AL. Also, don't forget, if you want a little bit more longer term, you can lock in all of September and get the rest of August absolutely free. That's on the individual handicappers page. You can use it for myself or the handicapper of your choice. It's a no-brainer. Coming down to about $7 or $8 a day. You lock it in today, and you're going to start getting plays immediately for this busy weekend. So thank you so much to the chat, and thank you so much to the comment section. Make sure you're leaving a comment below, sending out some positive vibes to the world. Really helps us out, helps the algorithm out. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Great week of shows, and I can't wait to get started again on Monday. Good luck on all your bets. Have a great weekend, and take care.